We're going to call this meeting to order. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Mr. Clerk, please conduct a prayer and flag salute.
Hang on one second, guys. I got it. God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
In the event of an emergency, the proper method of exiting the council chambers is through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down a staircase out the front door and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, to please sign in on the white sheets provided in the front of the room here on the desk. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, we ask that you please leave the council chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Ormond?
Here.
Javik?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Mohammed?
Present.
Cosby?
Present.
Roman?
Present.
Strano?
Here.
Medina?
Here.
Hickey?
Here.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Here. Okay, can we have approve the minutes of December 18, 2018 and January 2nd, 2019 council meetings?
Council President, I request for approval of the minutes for December 18, 2018, and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Mayor Armstead is going to present a proclamation for the School Board Recognition Month.
And first, let me apologize. Somehow, in the course of our busy schedules, we somehow didn't invite someone from the school board this evening. So I'm going to blame that on Councilman Ormond, because she's the liaison of the Board of Education.
Thank you.
We used to do it a lot when we were kids, just blame stuff on each other. It reads, whereas New Jersey's public schools serve approximately 1.4 million children from pre-kindergarten through 12th grade, and whereas the direction of the public education in New Jersey is charted locally by individual school boards whose 5,000 members serve as advocates for public education as they work with administrators, teachers, parents, and local residents, and whereas Board of Educations provide accountability to the public, they communicate the needs of the school district to the community, and they convey to school administrators the public's expectations for the school district. And whereas school board members receive no remuneration for their service, and whereas the Linden City Council and Mayor are justly proud of the academic, athletic, and social achievements of the students in our community, and whereas the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2019 to be School Board Recognition Month, a time when all residents can acknowledge the contributions made by our local school board members. Now therefore it be resolved that the Linden City Council and the Mayor does hereby commend the service of the Linden Board of Education and its members to our community and its children, and be it further resolved that the Linden City Council and Mayor proclaim January 2019 as School Board Recognition Month in the City of Linden, and urges all citizens to join in recognizing the dedication of local school board members, past and present, as we work together to advance the educational opportunities for our children, and is signed by me, Derek Armstead, Mayor of our city. I'll make sure that we forward this to the Board of Education. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Armstead. Okay, we have no ordinances on hearing this month. We'll move ahead to the consent agenda items. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or a citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any items number 1 through 5? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Council President, I ask that we have a motion to accept consent items 1 through 5 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. Okay, we'll start with Councilwoman Ormond in the First Ward.
Thank you, Council President. Just real briefly, our committees have just recently been assigned at our reorg meeting, so we haven't really had a chance to regroup with all of the committees. I will be chairing the Revenue Enhancement and Redevelopment Committee, and I will also be part of the Linden Heritage and Cultural Committee as a liaison. I will also be serving as the Board of Education liaison, and their meeting, their very first meeting, will be next week. Ongoing, I will be giving a recap primarily of what's going on in the city, just to make sure that we're all aware of things that are going on. And just real quickly, touching base on what's going on in my ward, the Pathmark store, the Pathmark location, I should say, which seems to have been an eyesore for quite some time. I heard that there will be a grand opening sometime in the spring with Superfresh. Also targeted for this spring, we're going to have Wells Park with a grand reopening. I was just notified that it did not have a swing set added to the park, so I spoke with the director of DPW and our community's properties to see whether or not we can get a swing put in there for the small children. Also, just want to let you know that street paving is on the books for our ward because it is an odd number year, and we are an odd number ward, number 1. And the list that I put in the hands of engineering is really not completely up to me to determine what gets done. They're my recommendations. Engineering will take a look and see what streets were paved last and the ones that are in the most dire need of repair, and they will review and make all final approval. And then last but not least, we did have a very late fall with leaves. If you do have leaves that you need raked up, I still have bags available. And if by chance you have blown them to the curb, please just give me a call so we can have somebody remove them, because with the snow and with the rain, they do become a little bit of a hazard. I don't have much else for the ward just yet because the year is just beginning. But Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to everyone in the First Ward continuing to work with me. And oh, just one last thing. I am looking to resurrect our First Ward Club. When you have a ward club, your ward club becomes the voice of the community. So from what I understand, the ward club, I guess many years ago, just kind of like just disintegrated, lack of interest. So I will be reaching out to every registered voter in the community to see who would like to partake in becoming a member of this club. Because, like I said, when you have a ward club, that's the voice, and it should be the voice of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ormond. Councilman Javik?
Good evening, everybody. I'm the chairman this year of the Fire Committee, so I just would like to start off with that. The Fire Prevention Bureau collected the following monies during the month of December, and the grand total is $3,990.51. In addition to that, the deposit report from the ambulance reimbursement was in the amount of $61,558.93. December 2018 has been added to the total deposit for 2018, totaling $814,540.59. With that, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Chief Dooley and the Linden Fire Department and everyone else involved for the rapid response to the fire that we had at the municipal garage this past weekend. It could have been a great loss, but thanks to Chief Dooley and the staff, we got there very quickly and put it out, and big catastrophe was solved. On December 27th, the Linden Cultural and Heritage Committee picked the winners of the holiday decorating contest, and I want to congratulate all those winners and say thank you to all our council representatives who picked the houses in their wards to submit for the contest. All the committee members that worked on this also, thank you. Our Traffic Bureau has been rolling out temporary one-way streets during school hours, so keep vigilant when driving in the areas. We will get the results of this rollout later in the coming months. In the second ward, at School 8 on Knopf and Lafayette and Knopf and Spruce Streets, we will be getting additional crossing guards added for the safety of the children and families. These streets have been already pre-marked for the crossings. We're back on track also with 2 developments in the second ward on Elizabeth Avenue, JTG Scaffolding Building and United Lacquer. You will start to see more things happening at these 2 locations. I've also asked for additional traffic surveillance on Elizabeth Avenue. You might have noticed that the digital speed signs that we put up right along the bridge there to slow down the traffic. Our goal is to slow that down completely because we're going to be doing a lot more work in that area, and we need to get ready for it. The residential real estate market in Linden has improved significantly. Linden is becoming a very desirable location, and the trend says it should continue. We have everything everyone wants, and we keep adding more. So we're going to let the good times roll for now. Feel free to reach out to me with any concerns or issues in the second ward or city. I can be reached at 908-494-4608. My email is bjavick@linden-newjersey.org. Council President, end of report.
Thank you, Councilman Javik. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Council President. My report is going to be short, like Councilwoman Armand said. We haven't met all our committees, so I only have 2 reports from 2 committees that I chair to report on. One is the Finance and Budget Review Committee. So approval is requested for the following finance actions: the payment of bills totaling $1,105,560.90. Bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. Item number 2, we are in receipts of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of December at a rate of 2.75%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Abstain.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Now on to construction code. Requesting approval for the installation of street lights at the following locations: pole number 66069 LD, located in the front of 1534 East St. George Avenue, and pole number 61863 LD, located at the exit of the parking lot 1600 East St. George Avenue, and I request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes.
That's the end of my reports from my committees. Next month, I should have a report on all my committees. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Councilman Mohammed?
Good evening, Council President. I'd like to give a report for the city clerk. 61 birth, death, and marriage transcripts for total city revenue of $915. 16 marriages and civil union license at $48. $400 revenue to the state. Domestic partnership was 0. Miscellaneous revenue was $10.50. Bingo raffles was $120. EDRS Vital Statistics, $1,320. Borough permits, 0, thank God. Interest earned, 0. Total income to the city of Linden, $2,413.50, and $400 to the state of New Jersey. Like to also report that we have had solutions to pothole problems that we have in the ward, and the expeditious execution of solutions by the office of Mr. Frank Dan is doing a marvelous job. And if you have any other concerns, you can reach me at 908-463-4843. And I'd like to wish happy birthday to the President Pro Tem of the City Council, the Honorable Ralph Spano, who turns 18 years old and has now been permitted to come to this dais.
I think we sing happy birthday now.
Tyler, thank you for embarrassing me.
Thank you, Councilman Mohammed. Councilwoman Cosby?
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. I wanted to, thank you, just give a quick report and make a couple of announcements. I wanted to thank the Construction Code Committee for the light installation request. 1600 East St. George's Avenue is where Save-A-Lot is. It's the plaza, the pizzeria, a lot of stores across from the condos and the apartments. And probably a month ago almost, there was another fatal car crash. So we had a meeting with the police department, Linden Police Department, Roselle Mayor. Mayor Armstead is on board with this initiative that we're trying and get a stoplight. So it's a stoplight that's going to actually turn red and actually stop the cars so that it's a safer cross. It's a crosswalk, and the people, it's a yellow light. Somebody pushes the button, it'll slow the people down if they decide to slow down or not. So I'm looking forward to getting the information from traffic. They're going to help us petition the DOT. I've also reached out to our state representatives, and, you know, they're lending their support to this as well. I wanted to thank my neighbor, Tony, who actually reached out to me and asked, was there anything in the works? And absolutely, there was something since the last fatal accident. So we're going to try and just light up the area, because coming and going, it's really, really dark. If you drive that way, you'll see that it's really dark. You can't see anyone. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on for this year. Hopefully, we get it done sooner than later. I just wanted to give some information for 2019. The Fifth Ward always have community meetings, and they're always scheduled in advance. So the dates I'm going to announce are tentative, pending the approval from the Recreation Department. All of the meetings are held at 6:30 to 7:30 at the Linden Multipurpose Center, which is located at 1025 John Street. And the first one is going to be February the 8th. There was a date change, if anyone received the email. So it's going to be February the 8th, and we typically celebrate Black History. We're not going to get into a huge citywide celebration, because I know that the CID, under the direction of Councilman Brown, he mentioned last night that they might do a program. So I'm going to defer the citywide program to them, and I'm still going to have a community meeting, and we'll still celebrate Black History. Every year we do a essay contest, and so this year's essay contest is open to all the children in Linden, and they can submit their essays to R. Cosby at linden-nj.org, or I can pick them up to them. And the topic is simply, children are history makers too. So the kids can make, you know, an essay, children are history makers too. Because a lot of times we just go by who's famous, and there are a lot of children who have, you know, contributed greatly to American history. So the next one is going to be in April. The next meeting after that is June 13th, August 15th, October 17th. I'll have this all posted, also sent it out on email. If you have any questions, you can call me at 908-718-7933. I wanted to just say some of the things that I will be working on this year, because I'm committed to making sure that our pedestrians are safe. I mentioned 1600 St. George's Avenue, and I wanted to make sure that we do have new recruits and new officers on the street. So I'm going to, you know, ask the mayor to help us get a greater presence in the Fifth Ward. I don't know if anybody's aware, but in our city now, today, and I actually saw the men in the Fifth Ward this afternoon, there are men posing as public service, and they're going around and they're knocking on folks' doors, And they actually have, fictitious badges and everything. So, just a patrol car every now and then will kind of deter, folks, doing things like that. So I'm going to reach out to the mayor and the police chief and see if what kind of a presence we can get here. I'm going to work optimistically with our new city engineer and our state officials to secure much-needed financing, because in the 5th Ward, we have IOC Park, and it's a flood basin. So infrastructure is a thing. And I think that if we're prepared, we have less issues if we're working on it periodically, because what happens in the 5th Ward goes all the way down to the other side of the highway with regard to the floods and everything like that. So, I mean, we know it's a problem, and last I heard it was $3 million, so we need to start looking at ways to fund that. And that's something I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to be working still to seek partnerships with private sectors and nonprofits to expand our community programming for our youth and our senior residents. I don't know if everyone is aware, excuse me, we were able in the city of Linden to partner with New Jersey After School All-Stars, and we received $250,000 for after-school programming. And so it was something that happened really quickly, because we found out about the grant in November. The grant was written in 4 days, and we were awarded the grant. So we got off to a slow start. There's still a few spots left. If you have a child who's in the 4th or up to the 8th grade citywide, and you're looking for structured enrichment programming, you want to contact, well, you can email me or contact New Jersey After School All-Stars. I don't have the phone number in front of me. But either way, there's a program. They're going to be doing lots of things, cooking, enrichment. They're going to be doing music enrichment. They're also going to do homework help, absolutely. And we're hiring folks from Linden. So this is creating jobs, and it's creating enrichment for the young people here in the city of Linden. So I'm excited about that. I think that's all I have, because I don't have a committee, so I'm just going to give all the information. Oh, the last thing I want to talk about, too, Hagel Avenue Park, the department head did give me the information, and he confirmed the Hagel Avenue Park equipment has been purchased. So it's been 2 years, and we're going to definitely get our park done as soon as I get the date, and I'll let everyone know when the park is going to be renovated. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Cosby. Councilman Roman?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening. Good evening. This year, I am once again chairman of negotiations. Those are ongoing. It is the beginning of the year, so we have not, as previous council people have said, we have not been able to meet. I am on the engineering committee. Purpose, I really wanted to get on engineering committees, not only to learn more, but also to continue the work that was being done at the landfill with the solar panels. The accident review committee, it's important. I came in asking to find ways that we can solve the problem, all the accidents, speeding, and traffic in our ward, and this is the committee that does it. And I also wanted to check out the IT committee, so I've been put on that as well. Want to echo Councilman Javik's comments about the fire this past weekend. I spent some time out there, and I was really in awe to watch the firefighters work all in unison, and there's a ton of agencies out there. Our boys and girls were out there, and the leadership was outstanding. So I just want to thank everyone, thank the firefighters, and thank all the other agencies that, honestly, they salvaged that garage. The garage, when I first got there, I was like, this garage is done, and it looks like everything was mostly salvaged, or our vehicles were salvaged. So that is ongoing, and I just want to really thank them. As for trees, I've been getting a couple tree requests. All the tree requests I've received over the last couple days or weeks, they've all already been put on the tree list, so they should be coming up at the latest this spring. It is, as I've said in previous meetings, a very long list, but our DPW is doing a great job, and they've been catching up and working night and day. So if you have another tree, please call me. I'll make sure it's on the list if it's not already. I'm pretty sure we've had dozens of trees cut down last year in the 6th Ward. And if you do have a dead tree, call me. If you've had a dead tree cut out and you want a new one, call me. I can help you with that as well. If there's, as Councilwoman Mormon said, and I want to echo this because I see it a lot when I'm driving around every day, if there's leaves on the ground, please give me a call. Sometimes I miss them, and I will have DPW out there to pick them up before the snow comes. If there's anything at all, sidewalk issues, trees parking issues, idling trucks. I really don't care how big or small it is. I'm priding myself on getting out there, and I will do everything in my power to help you guys out. So next month, I'll announce a date for my third 6th Ward community meeting. Last year, we had 2. One was centered around police. The other was centered around county government, as well as just a general. Our first one in February was a general one. Great, very grateful for the attendance of the 6th Ward. They came out 100 strong at each of them. This one I'm hoping to have centered around engineering and DPW issues. So with that, I hope you're having a great new year. And Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Roman. Councilman Strano?
Thank you, Madam Council President. I have the personnel report for this month. We have 7 items here that I'll read off and request a motion to approve. In the mayor's office is item A, the appointment of Alex LaSpinosa as a chief of staff part-time at the annual salary of $35,000 effective February 1st, 2019. Item 2 in the police department is accepting the resignation in good standing of Mohammed Bilal as police recruit effective January 8th of 2019. And B is approving the unpaid internship for Daniel Zaldana effective January 16, 2019 through May 31st of 2019. 3 is the Department of Community Services. A, amending the hire date of Marcus Muzan to January 10th of 2019. B is the provisional appointment of David Martinez to General Supervisor in the Public Works Department at the annual salary of $95,030.00 effective January 16th, 2019. Item 4 is the Public Property/Recreational Services. A, amending the hire date of Kashawn Glover to December 27th of 2018. B, permission to post full-time HVAC mechanic by the New Jersey Civil Service Commission. C, approval of the seasonal list on file in the city clerk's office. D, the determination of Annie Goebel, Labor 1, Tier 2, effective 12/20 of 2018. Item 5 in the municipal court. A is permission to post for clerk 1 full-time internally and externally. B is permission to repost for 2 part-time clerk 1s from the POAA account internally and externally. Item 6 in engineering. A is appointing Nicholas Pantina as the Deputy Director of Community Services as per Ordinance 2-25.1C at no increase in salary effective January 16th of 2019. 7, under the personnel, A is the FMLA/NJFLA. The employee numbers are on file in the personnel office. B, pursuant to a grievance resolution, the salary adjustment for Tanya Kalinkoff to $65,070, which is effective January 16th of 2019. And C is a correction of salary for Brenda Salas to $34,548, effective December 26, 2018. Council President, am I to ask for questions at this
Yes.
time? So done. Any questions on the report?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, I make a motion for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
No.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
I abstain to number 1 and yes to all.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemekaitis?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, some of the things that I'd like to do is, first of all, I'd like people here in the audience to recognize how nice the facility here looks. The council chambers haven't looked this good in quite some time, and I think we owe that to this one person that happens to be standing in a corner over here, Jerry Bishop, is one of those guys that you give him a job to do, and he gets it done, and he does a very good job. I want to recognize that. And if you don't believe me, go down to the train station and take a look at the train station. Same thing's occurring there, and Jerry's involved with that deeply. And he even came in, I think Councilman Brown probably alluded to this from the previous meeting, where he comes in, and others as well, volunteer on their own time to decorate for the holidays. And I think people need to recognize that for that. And, you know, I've had people personally comment to me that aren't regular train travelers, but have commented to me personally to tell me that they were really, you know, taken aback by how much nicer the train station is looking these days. So kudos to those people that are involved in it, and Jerry, I think, headed that up too. Engineering committee, chair of the engineering committee this year. I think Councilman from the 6th Ward briefly mentioned the landfill. We will be re-advertising for RFPs for the solar farm. There's been legislation that's changed and made it a more lucrative proposition to get this done, where we'll wind up with a better revenue source from that landfill. Here's a case where not acting previously paid off, because apparently we're going to get probably somewhere near twice to 3 times as much money as originally was offered. What remains to be seen. We're working on putting that RFP out. There's a resolution on the agenda for that. Also, the sidewalk repair program that we had has been curtailed for the cold weather. They didn't complete the 2018 project, but that will resume in the springtime. The same holds true for any paving projects that were slated to be done, and now we'll have to wait until the weather warms back up. One of the things I wanted to mention as well, it comes under engineering and crosses over to our, some of our DPW might be involved in this, but mostly engineering, is there's a lot of guardrails that are damaged throughout the city. And if people are wondering why it's taking so long to get these repaired, primarily they're insurance claims, and the insurance companies are dragging their feet. I'm going to be meeting with the insurance commission here in the committee here in Linden to see what's taking so long to get these projects done, because I'm noticing that they're taking an extremely long time to get repaired. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councilman Strano, and happy birthday once
Well,
again.
Thank you.
Councilman Medina?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. I have a short report as well. Just wanted to let everyone know I'm the chairman of the Technology Committee. We're carrying over some agenda items from 2018. One of those items is the new Linden app. We're currently reviewing some proposals, and we're hoping to finalize this deal hopefully the next couple of months, and hopefully launch a new app in 2019. Because again, at the end of the goal of the council is to provide additional tools to communicate with the residents of Linden, providing them with important information such as events, alerts, anything that's happening in the city, and also events that are going on in the city for your families and whatnot to come out and visit Linden, whether it be our downtown or any special events that we're holding in the city of Linden. So hopefully sometime in 2019, looking to push that forward this year, and discuss other items as well that are on the agenda. As for the 9th Ward, very, very short. This year is the 9th Ward turn for road paving, so I submitted a very lengthy list to the city engineers. Obviously, again, it's not up to me. They review the roads, they look at the maps, see when the road was last paved, et cetera. So we're hoping to hopefully have a meeting on that next few months when they're ready to review those roads. As for now, things are still on pause when it comes to our curbs and sidewalks. When it gets warmer, obviously in the spring, they will continue with those projects. Any residents have any concerns, whether it be speeding, trees, or whatnot, please feel free to give me a call. I'm always on the road, always driving around the 9th Ward, and again, I'm always taking notes and submitting them to the appropriate department. I can always be reached at 908-986-6100. You can text me, you can email me, or you can give me a call. always here to help, and I'm happy to serve the next 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Medina. Councilwoman Hickey?
Thank you, Council President. I hope everyone had a very wonderful holiday season. It is a new year, and I hope everyone is off to a great start and it continues throughout 2019. I have the last reports tonight for the December 2018 as chairwoman of the Fire Committee. I am just so proud of these men and women on our fire department and the outstanding job that they do for all of us. And I just want to thank Chief Dooley and all the Linden Fire Department employees for their respectfulness, their hard work, and their dedication. It was very eye-opening to serve as chairwoman on the fire department this year. And it made me even more humble and proud of what we have here in Linden. So let me read my last two reports. I'm still on the fire department committee, which I'm happy to. I'm just not chairman, but that's fine, unless I have to read. So from December 2018, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected $3,990.51. And a deposit report from the ambulance reimbursement system for the Linden Fire Department ambulance billing was $61,558.93. The deposits for 2018 were a total of $814,540.59. This is the highest income revenue we've received from the fire department over the years, which means that our men and women are working extremely, extremely hard, riding the ambulances and serving the public. So they also all deserve recognition for that, and I want to thank them. I hear that the weather this week, we might be starting to get some snow. My annual winter comments, please try and park your cars in your driveways, use a neighbor's driveway, whatever we can do to clear our streets. Just please be considerate to your neighbors. Don't park in front of somebody else's house so the front of your house is cleared. This is not being a good neighbor. And also, please do not throw snow in the streets. Our men and women on the DPW and our residents work hard to keep our streets and to be courteous to others, and this really is not a nice thing to do. And to make it very clear, you are able to be fined if you are caught throwing snow in the street. And I know as far as Councilman Medina and I go, we do drive around, and we do have many residents who call us and say, listen, my neighbor's throwing all their snow in the street. And either we go there or we have somebody go there to issue a ticket. So just be kind and courteous. Be patient with our DPW workers. Many of them work very long shifts, and they work very hard. And just keep good thoughts and prayers for them. And let's hope they just stay safe during any bad weather that we have. I wanted to read one thing. I don't know if the mayor was going to read it or if anybody forgot, but this Friday, there is a grand opening for the Art House in Linden on Wood Avenue. I have to say that this is going to be an amazing program and extremely beneficial to our downtown neighborhood. On Friday, January 18th at 7 p.m. is the ribbon cutting ceremony. There is live music, live painting, dance, performance, and that's all free of charge. And at 8 p.m., there'll be stage readings of The Parcel Man and many other events going on Friday and Saturday. I have to give recognition to Muhammad Jalla. I don't know who knows him, but one, he's an extremely talented man himself. I've seen him perform, I've heard him sing, and I was certainly in awe. And Councilman Brown and Councilman Medina, I know they've been in that area, that building where they're doing the performances, renovating and working hard. I think Councilman Brown even said his son Alexander was too. So that's very, very nice, and I think it's going to be extremely beneficial. Last night at our caucus meeting, I was a bit disappointed. I know we're all supposed to be working together, but I all of a sudden received many resolutions to appoint all new attorneys to our city. I've never heard in the past that there was any problems or any issues. I do feel that there are many attorneys within our city that are able to be prosecutor, public defenders, and that's the way it always was. And I understand that there are changes that can be made. I'm tiptoeing around my report that I actually wrote because I don't want to be too harsh. But I feel many of these are personal, political issues and paybacks. I'm also concerned for many of our employees that are required to live in our city. They work paycheck to paycheck. And in the last few years, we keep hiring people who at higher positions that don't live in our city, when we have people who are qualified to do it, and they would take a lot of pride to do it. And I don't feel it's fair. I believe there will be comments regarding my words tonight, but believe me, I've always spoken the truth, and even when I had to say it alone. When I vote on council, I'm a bipartisan. It's not for any political affiliation. It's about what's right for the people, for the residents, for our children. And I just wish that people who want to show unity, who preach unity, will actually show unity and not deceive the public or the council members that have a difference of opinion consistently. Crime has changed immensely in our city, and we need to make sure we have a prosecutor who knows the history, the players, the habitual criminals, and certainly the troublemakers. With our police department doing an amazing job, moving in a positive direction under Chief Hart, increased manpower on our department, a zero tolerance for bad behavior on our streets, it would certainly be unfair to all if their hard work and daily work fell apart in our courtrooms. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. Once again, I believe these are personal agendas, or should I say vendettas. Let's start making the residents and dedicated, hardworking employees priority again, and not our political or personal agendas. Speaking of the police department, as many of you have seen on the news, the past week and a half, across our country, there's been many, many officers shot in the line of duty, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, not being able to go home to their families, and not having their families have them come home to them. And I'm very proud of our police department, and I just keep them in my prayers, and to be safe on those streets, and let's hope that we have continued success with our police department without incident. And the last thing, our infamous casino night is coming up on the 26th of January for the Linden Housing Authority. It has gotten bigger and better every single year. We have so many attendees local. It's not about politics, it's about friends and a good time and refreshments, sandwiches, casino tables. They'll teach you how to play if you want to learn how to play different games. We raffle off a lot of prizes, and all the proceeds go to the disabled and the elderly in the Housing Authority. Some days we tend to forget that there's many residents that don't even have a family to have a holiday dinner with, or a family member or money to get a bicycle or a pair of special eyeglasses or shoes. So this is an event I'm very proud of. If anyone needs tickets, you can reach me on Facebook Messenger. You can call me on my cell phone, 908-347-4548. And I just want to say that Ann Ferguson, myself, and the amazing Linden Housing Authority staff look very forward to seeing everybody next Saturday. And let's hope without snow, because then we'll have to have our DPW workers work even harder that day, because I'll be calling them frantically. But thank you. Thank you for listening, and I wish everybody a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mayor Armstead?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Not a lot to report on this evening. Just want to rehash what the 10th Ward Councilwoman mentioned about the Arts Center that's going to be opening up this Friday we'll have our grand opening. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that it is the brainchild of our councilman in the 3rd Ward, Peter Brown, and he's collaborated with Muhammad Jallo, the former freeholder, who also he's one of our prosecutors in town. It's consistent with what we've been trying to accomplish here, and trying to have some family-oriented events in town. We've have Kids to Park, Backpack to School, Breakfast with Santa, game night. So the Arts Center is just an extension of our efforts to try to bring everyone from all areas of the town together so that we can be one Linden, and I think it's a good thing. So thank you, Councilman Brown and Muhammad Jallo, for your efforts in putting this thing together. I'd like to, today I spent a few minutes over on 1600 East St. George Avenue to officially welcome Wing It On. It's a new fast food restaurant that specializes in wings, chicken wings that is, and other chicken products. So we went today. The food is actually pretty decent. So Super Bowl Sunday is coming up soon. I think it'll be a great place to go buy wings, and so you can enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Not only Super Bowl Sunday, but anytime you feel like having some wings, going over to Wing It On. I would like to officially welcome our new city engineer, Nick Pantina, who started yesterday, was his first day. Nick has 4 years of experience with the Port Authority, 5 years with New Jersey Transit, and 16 years with the county. He's a former county traffic engineer, and I think what he brings to the table is tremendous because we've had some issues with the traffic flows in town, and I think at the end of the day, it'll be a cost savings having someone who really understands traffic engineering as well as he does. So, Nick, welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you. As a former county employee, I know your worth. I know you're a dedicated employee. You were a dedicated employee at the county, and I'm confident that you'll do a great job in Linden. And that concludes my reports, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor Armstead. We'll be now moving on to resolutions. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the City Clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anyone wish to remove Resolution 2019-20 through 2019-74? Mrs. Malik? 24. 25, 26. 31. 32. 37. 42, 46. 53. 54. 62. 66, 67, and 68. Okay, Mr. Principato?
35.
Okay.
37. 53. 65, 66, 67.
65, 66, 67. 68. 73. Okay. Mr. Yamakaitis? 73. Yes, can I have your name again? Craig Howlard, okay. Yes, and your, I didn't hear you. What is it, 28? 28. 29. 30. 31. 33. 35. 40. 42. 47. 53. 56. 65, 66, 67.
68, 69, 70, 72, and 73.
Okay. Anyone else? Your name's Hans? Okay. And what were the numbers? 41 and 74. Okay. All right. Can we have a motion on the, I don't even know if do we have anything left?
Council President, I move for approval of resolutions that weren't mentioned to be,
Okay, that works.
and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes, except
Ja-
for, can I finish, please? Yes, but I abstain on number 23.
23?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes, and I abstain on number 20.
Brown?
Yes to all.
Mohammed?
Yes to all.
Cosby?
I'm voting no on 38. I'm not sure if this was read, but I'm just going to abstain on 32, 60, 61, and 64.
32?
60, 61, and 64.
32 has been pulled. It's not a
Roman?
motion.
It was pulled, so
It was
I'll
pulled.
vote when it comes up.
I mean, I'm voting no on 21, 22 if they weren't pulled.
They weren't pulled.
Okay, I'm definitely voting no on those. And
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes and no to, with the exception of no to 61 and 71. I don't believe either one of those were called.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Madam Council President, my vote wasn't recorded. I'm going to mimic the ones that Councilwoman Hickey said no to. And yes to the rest. Thank you.
While I'm waiting for the list, I just want to say a special little thank you to Mr. Martucci from the Linden Board of Education. He provided from one president to another a little timing device, so I'm going to adhere to the 5-minute rule. So, it's especially considering we have so many resolutions pulled.
Yes. She's got it.
Okay, I will start with Mrs. Malik. Would you come up on resolution number 24?
Actually, I wanted to combine 24, 25, and 26. And what I'd like to know is what does this this committee really do? But even before that, we have Derek Armstead, Joseph Kroback, and Christina. They're alternate members. So we have a lot of alternate members. What do we need all those for? And then I see Resolution 46, we have George Verchik, who is, I think it's the same committee, Revenue Sharing Committee, like a full-time. So first off, a little bit more about the Union County Community Development Sharing Revenue, Community Revenue Sharing Committee. What do they do? And then why do we have so many alternates? What do we need those for?
Okay. Mr. Dan, would you be able to? You're not. not part of yours? Okay. Mr. Bodak, are you familiar with those committees?
Council President, I can
Yes.
speak on it.
Okay, Mr. Antonelli?
So this deals with the community development money that's given to the County of Union.
From where?
Right. Linden, because of its population, does not have its own community development program. It's administered through the County of Union. So these are individuals that are appointed to the committee that determines what the funds will be purposed for. And then obviously there are alternates in the event, certain members that are appointed cannot make it. So that's what this does. The only one that gets a stipend is Joe Kroback, but everybody else serves in a volunteer capacity.
But Joseph, it says here, commencing in terms, he's on an alternative. So doesn't Mr. Verchek then get also a stipend?
He does not, and it's my
Why?
understanding that Mr. Verchek was being appointed to this committee because George has 40 years of institutional knowledge and has been on this committee for that long, and obviously has a wealth of knowledge in determining what programs and where the money should be properly spent.
And what type of stipend does Mr. Kroback get?
I believe it's $2,500.
Okay, for the whole term?
Correct.
Okay, and then when you said the money, where, Union County, where do they get the money that they start doling out to the cities?
Sure. The County of Union receives those monies from the federal government.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mrs. Malik, if you want to stay up here, resolution number 31.
Okay. Oh, what is this special tax council going to be doing? Why do we need this?
Mr. Antonelli?
Thank you, Council President. Ms. Malik, this resolution is an annual resolution. The city has to defend tax appeals filed by either residential property owners or commercial property owners. Saul Wolf from the firm noted is a firm that has been doing a great job in defending the city in its tax appeals. It's been recommended by our tax assessor that this governing body reappoint this firm to handle our tax appeals.
So we always use an outside individual for doing this. There's no one with in-house expertise?
I've been with the city since 2012. Since that time, and it's my understanding that Mr. Wolf has been defending the city for probably close to 25, 30 years.
Okay, fine.
If not
Thank you.
longer.
Great.
Okay. While you're up, would be
Sure.
32.
I thought that was pulled. Someone just said.
I have you down for pulling that.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, I see. Oh,
Yes.
okay. How much was this for, the appropriations that we're transferring?
Mrs. Zach?
We're transferring $397,445.04 from salary adjustment account to the police department, fire department, mayor's office, city clerk, assessment of taxes, Department of Community Services. And then we're also transferring solid waste collection, salary and wages, $12,500 to other expenses, and then buildings and grounds, salary and wages to other expenses.
So that $300,000, I mean, how were we able to do that? We didn't use it, or?
Correct. Every year, we budget what's called salary adjustment, and when we have various contracts come to due and settling, we then are allowed to transfer from the salary adjustment account into the applicable salary account for where we need to pay. So in 2018, we had negotiated and settled all the agreements, and at the end of the year, we now know what the total amount of the salaries were for those increases, and that's why we're transferring from salary adjustment.
So then how does this impact our budget that we have?
It doesn't impact the 2019.
It does or does it not?
It does not impact
Okay.
2019. This is 2018
18.
funds that we already had budgeted, that we knew we were going to have to spend. So basically, taking the money from the salary adjustment.
It's a
and-
rollover.
Exactly, putting it
Okay.
into where we need to spend it from.
Okay, fine.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
All right.
Malik.
Yes.
Mr. Halloran, resolution number 31.
Okay, the way I read 31, it's to have to balance, I believe to help balance the budget. I thought we had accountants to do this. Why are we paying somebody extra to do the same job?
Mr. Antonelli?
Again, this is a specialty tax appeal defense work. This is something that's been done year after year. I could tell you it's been my experience, sir, in just about every municipality that I'm aware of, all retain tax appeal counsel, outside counsel, that is, to defend the municipality in tax appeals.
I don't agree with it, but I understand your answer.
Okay, Mr. Halloran, number 30. Are you up here?
I thought I had in here for 28 and 29.
I
also.
will go to those, okay.
Okay,
That's right.
30, what one?
Number 30,
Number 30.
that's on
Okay,
AT&T.
we're allowing AT&T to put up miniature cell towers. Now, I'm not a scientist, but don't cell towers give out some form of radiation? So is AT&T or the city going to be responsible for any health effects on anything that happens to myself, my pets, my plants, anything?
Mr. Antonelli, can you address that?
This is a resolution that gives AT&T permission to use the city's right-of-way with regard to the telephone poles. For that right, the AT&T, the vendor, will be paying the city approximately $100 a year for each use of the pole. We're not sure at this point how many, but they're also going to be paying us an annual fee as well. Basically, under the federal law, we cannot essentially deny AT&T the right to use the right-of-way, and in this instance, we're actually able to generate some revenue over allowing this use.
Okay, then I would like to see a copy of the contract saying that AT&T is going to assume any adverse health effects to myself, my plants, or my animals.
It's my understanding, sir, it's not going to be a cell tower, so...
It's a miniature cell.
All right, it's not, there are no cell towers being built in the right-of-way. They're going to use existing poles
Okay, I
to
understand
land their
that.
infrastructure.
I have a pole right outside my house. And if that radiation or whatever it is, I'm not a scientist, affects myself, my wife, our 2 dogs, or anything else on my property, you're saying that you're not going to provide the paperwork so that AT&T would be responsible for any ill health effects suffered by myself, my wife, or whatever.
AT&T is required to maintain insurance for the use of the right-of-way. They are also required to defend and indemnify the city for any of its actions as a result of the use of the right-of-way.
Again, I'm not happy with that answer, but that answers that one for now.
Okay, Mr. Halloran, number 28, we'll go back to.
Okay, 28, I'm going to lump 28 and 29
Sure.
in here. We're paying for 2 real estate appraisers for state court tax appeals. Okay, why don't we just get somebody who can do it all, rather than hire 2 firms?
Mr. Antonelli?
Thank you. Hopefully I could satisfy you this time, sir. So in addition to tax appeal counsel, we need to hire an appraiser as well as a real estate individual to assist the city, not so much with the residential appeals, but the city, as you know, has a large industry here, and we have some pretty big corporations that pay a significant amount of taxes, so they obviously have an incentive to file tax appeals, and we need to properly defend that appeal. And in order to prove your case, to prove, for example, that the assessment is appropriate, we need an appraiser. Sometimes we need a real estate individual to determine the highest and best use of the property and the value. It's a fairly complicated process, and hopefully you're satisfied with my answer, but these are an annual appointment. This is something that we do every year, and frankly, it's alarming if the individuals or the corporations that do file appeals and we're successful, this city would be responsible for refunding a significant amount of money. And understand this, and I believe it was mentioned in a prior meeting, when the city is required to refund taxes as a result of a tax appeal, the city has to pay that. Don't forget, your taxes pay for not just what the city provides by way of services, but as well as what the county does and what the Board of Ed does. So they get their tax money, but the city is on the hook to refund those taxes, and we're unable to recoup those funds from the county or from the Board of Ed. So it's very, very important that we properly defend these tax appeals.
I have a question then. Why don't we have a full-time real estate appraiser that works for the city? With all the new development, I would think that might be more advantageous rather than hiring these people to do this at this point, at this level.
I'd be guessing, sir, but it would probably cost a lot more money to hire an in-house
might.
full-time appraiser.
With all the development that's going on, that might be more advantageous. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the mathematician here, but, you know, I will accept that answer, though.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Halloran. Councilman Javik, can I have a motion on resolutions number 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32?
Council President, I move for approval of resolutions number 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30. What were you up to?
31 and 32.
31 and 32. And ask for a second.
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 Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
I'm going to abstain on 32 and vote yes to the rest.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
No on 30, yes to the rest.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Principato, resolution number 35.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. Which city employees are going to participate in the voluntary furlough program?
Mr. Roth, can you please answer that?
Well, they would apply. I can't tell you now. They apply for it on an as-needed basis. What this resolution does is it notifies the Division of Pensions and Benefits that we are providing a voluntary furlough program. So when these individuals apply for it, we notify the Division of Pensions and Benefits not to penalize them for taking the time.
Okay. So public safety at all, would you believe, is involved in that?
As far as I know, no one from public safety has ever applied.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Halloran, number 35.
Okay, I believe some of my question has been answered, but it sounds like a voluntary furlough protects the employee from losing their benefits if they go out on either under the Family Leave Act or the leave of absence.
No, sir. That's not what the voluntary furlough program is to preserve an employee's rights in the pension system. So it has nothing to do with their benefits here. It preserves their ability to continue to put into the pension system if they're not getting paid from the city. We will offset, we the city, split out the payments. Even though they're not getting paid, we will continue to pay out of their paycheck in the future, and so they can continue to get pension credits.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, the city is going to continue to pay the pension contribution?
Out of other portions of the employee's salary. So when they come back, if they're off for 2 weeks with
Yes.
no pay on the voluntary furlough program, what we do is we divide out the other 50 weeks of the year
so they will get pension credit for those 2 weeks. We don't take extra money out of the city's coffers. It comes out of their check. It's just not, it's divisible by, instead of 52, it's divisible by 50.
Okay, I believe that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on
Oh,
to
wow, I got one.
Resolution 33.
33. What do we need another attorney for? What does the city attorney do? Nothing personal, sir, please.
Okay, Mr. Antonelli, could you please address that?
No problem, sir. It's totally an appropriate question, and I appreciate it. As you could see, there are resolutions on this evening for various council appointments. This particular appointment is for special counsel that's utilized by the law department, particularly when we have conflicts that either myself or any of the other attorneys in the law department are unable to handle. This is just set up as an appropriation. It's a not-to-exceed amount. And when a matter comes up where there's a conflict, that matter will be assigned to counsel. In addition to that, there are sometimes gun appeals that are filed as a result of the police department denying someone a permit for a firearms ID card or some other approval. From time to time, the law department will assign that out to counsel, in this case, Mr. Varity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Principato, number 37.
John Principato. Can you explain exactly what this is to me? Because I see fund, the impact fund, resurfacing of Southwood Avenue, where this is going to begin.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Frank Dan or Mr. Pantina.
Yeah.
Mr. Pantina?
Hi. So, this project is for the engineering design, bid document specs, contract administration, contract inspection, and management for the resurfacing of Southwood Avenue from 1 and 9 to Tremley Point Road. It includes installation upgrades of ADA compliant curb ramps, upgrades and replacement of 3 traffic signals at East 12th, East 18th, and Main Street, milling and resurfacing of the roadway curb to curb, traffic striping and signage, upgrades and repairs to stormwater catch basins, and like I said, full construction management of the project.
So they're going to put together basically the engineering plans for everything associated with the project?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Malik? Same resolution, number 37.
I just want to say that's like an exorbitant amount. A lot of these bids that come in are contracts, are always up to not to exceed. So there's no way that this could exceed this. Can't you go out with a bid saying it's services plus costs, or I forget what the terminology is? I just want to bring that, I want to ask that type of a question. You understand
Well,
what I'm asking?
I think what you're asking about is to possibly go out for maybe time and materials, but that's usually for construction. This is for...
In engineering.
This is for design.
Right.
So this includes the items that I previously mentioned, and in their proposal, they itemized how they were going to do this and how much each of it was going to cost. So it's really not time and material. It's exactly we put out a scope of what we want, and they're given a proposal back of what they're going to provide, and this is how much it's going to cost.
So, and you hit the nail on the head saying that it's not actually for materials. So then why is it just saying not to exceed? Why isn't it for like $169,000 or $170,000?
Well, that's what the proposal that they gave us. They gave us a proposal for $169,399.
So it's $169,000, that's, okay, that's it. All right. And did you go out to anyone else because of this sum of money, did anyone else bid on this?
Those are professional services, and they are pre-qualified. and the city has qualified them as engineers that can perform this type of service.
Okay, so that means that there's no one else that can come in to, because you're using the term pre-qualified, no one else can come in if they had these skills to provide, answer your RFQ.
There could be, sure there could be.
Okay, but no one probably did, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Malik. Mr. Hans, number 41.
Good evening, guys. I'm Hans Herberg, 1501 Westover. When I looked at 41, I'm very excited about it. I think that's a question for Chief Hard. I mean, when I saw that one, I think it's very exciting. I was wondering, what the goal emission is for the new vehicle. I think that's pretty excited, though.
Chief Hart?
Yes, this is actually grant money from Columbia Bank. It's not city money. They gave us $52,000, a very gracious neighbor, and we're splitting money between the fire, police, and recreation. We're going to make a community service vehicle out of this to be taken to city events throughout the town. It's a great idea. Thank you.
That's good, though. I think that's pretty much it, though. for
Okay, you
70
want to go to 74?
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're up here?
Oh, yeah. Well, with the 74, I was looking at that. I think you guys were talking about solar farm. I know, just bear with me. I don't know if we had a discussion in the fall about this. Just wondering how much are we going to get out of this? I mean, I think it's important, though, with the proposal that we got, we want to make sure, what's going to benefit the community? Are we going to get, how much revenues are we getting, though?
Mr. Antonelli, would you be able to answer that?
This resolution essentially rejects, if you will, any of the prior submissions. Sometime last year, City Council authorized an RFP, a request for proposals, with regard to a solar farm at the landfill. We had commenced negotiations with one vendor that did not come to fruition. So our professionals are recommended that we essentially go back out, if you will, for an RFP to solicit new proposals in hopes of securing a contract with a vendor that would build a solar farm on the landfill, and the benefit there would be revenue to the city.
Yeah, there was only one, right? But we didn't have more than one vendors, coming in and take a look.
From what I understand, there were multiple submissions, but one was selected, and that vendor then commenced negotiations with the city's professionals, but that did not result in a contract. So that's why now we're restarting the process. And there's a timing issue as well. I'm told that I want to call it capacity throughout the state of New Jersey. Once capacity for solar farms reaches 5%, they're not going to, the state of New Jersey will not allow a solar farm. It's my understanding they're at approximately 4.5% right now, so there's some urgency for us to move on this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Councilman Roman, you wanted to?
Hans, I just wanted to, actually, he finished with what was saying, that there is some urgency to this. But early on, when I took over, when I came in, the landfill committee chairman, obviously I was learning. I got Councilman Stroud next to me as a longtime committee person on the landfill. But the mayor and the committee was all on the same board that we were going to try to absolutely maximize how much revenue we could get out of that solar field, and that the cancellation and redoing this is working towards that goal. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Javik, can I have a motion on resolutions number 33, 35, 37, 41, and 74?
Council President, didn't you miss 40?
No, we didn't get to that one yet.
Okay. I move for approval of resolutions 33, 35, 37, 41,
And 74?
and 74, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis.
Yes. Mr. Halloran, resolution number 40.
Okay. Why do we need an automated garbage truck? I can certainly understand it's, equipment wears out, and they do cost quite a bit of money, but it also sounds like, are we gonna borrow money to buy this? And what are we gonna do with the salary for the people that are not gonna be needed on this garbage truck if it's automated?
Okay, Mr. Dan?
Yeah, these trucks take between 6 and 10 months to build. These things aren't not on the shelf. So our plan at this point is to introduce automated pickup for recycling. This truck is what they commonly refer to as the one-armed bandit that picks up the can and dump it in.
I have seen.
And we are in the process of planning to introduce automated pickup for recycling, rather than doing it by hand the old-fashioned way.
Okay, does that mean that the city's gonna provide us with the receptacles, like they did the garbage cans, in order to pick up the recyclables, and at what cost is that gonna be?
Yes, and we haven't gotten that up to that yet, but yes, that's our hope. It's currently right now being discussed in the Finance Committee.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Halloran, resolution number 42.
42 regards to the screening and crushing for compost for the public works. Doesn't the county do this, and can't they do it under shared services?
Mr. Dan?
And why not?
The county does do this, and they have more compost than they can screen. I've already checked into that to see if we couldn't either bring our material there, or they can ship their screener to us. And their screener runs every single day of the week. They don't have the ability to do any more than what they're doing now.
Okay, then, using shared services, are there other cities or towns in the area that can do it with us, or we can bring our stuff to them?
No, there isn't, because the vast majority of the municipalities over the last dozen years or so bring their leaves to be composted to the county compost facility. The city did not, and has a very large pile that has to be screened.
Okay, then my question is, why doesn't the city push the county, because what are we sending to the county, 30 million a year? I don't know. That's a figure I heard. So why don't we push the county to say, out of our 30 million, expand your composting facility and do the whole county?
They do the whole county, and there's no...
They're not doing ours.
They are now.
Okay, so then why do we need to bring pay somebody to do this for us if the county does it?
When I took over at the beginning of last year, there were 8 years' worth of leaf compost pushed into a pile, and this is the remedy to take care of that leaf compost.
I'll take that as an answer. I'm not exactly thrilled with it. I know you're doing your best, don't get me wrong, as does
Thank you.
everybody in the city council and city government, but, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Halloran.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Malik, on resolution number 42.
You said we had 8 years of compost, and it's basically leaves. Where have we been stockpiling this compost?
In the city's compost facility
Which is, I don't know, where
on
is this?
Lower Road.
Okay, all right. So if these are leaves, then why do we have to have a screening of this? And then after we screen it, what do we do with the screened or clean compost?
Real good question, too. Our plans...
I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, we've applied to the DEP to use it as weed control at the landfill,
So,
to screen the material.
okay, so I was going to say, why do we have to really screen? So in the when
Sure.
they're picking up leaves, I bag mine, so we have the leaves, but those are supposed to be recyclable bags. There may be some other debris that could be in with the leaves, like bottles, whatever. And so is that the whole reason why we do the screening? Why can't we just dump it, since this is, like, I'll call it clean waste, even though we have a capped landfill, why couldn't we just take this compost and put it on top of our capped landfill?
The material is far from clean. In the city streets, we pick up leaves two different ways, with a vacuum and with a front end loader.
Mhm.
And inevitably, there's bottles, there's cans, there's papers, there's everything in it. And the screener has a 1-inch hole, so the material that comes out
That's
is
fine.
nice, fine compost, and the remainder is garbage that we have to get rid of in the garbage facility.
Right. And so since it's a capped landfill, even though I'll say maybe it's a minimal amount of debris in with these leaves, we couldn't put it on top of the landfill. That would be illegal to do.
That's correct.
Okay. So you said we have actually like 8 years of this. How did we ever let this situation go to 8 years of stockpiling?
That was before my time, so.
Well, maybe someone else can answer this from the council?
Can I just make
I mean, we've got a lot of people here that have been around for a long time. And I'm sure that this must have been an issue. I mean, I find this amazing.
Mrs. Malik, it's a management
Mrs.
issue.
Malik,
From, I used to
one of
sit
the
on
reasons that we
committee.
brought Frank Dan on.
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Vice President gave me this time.
I apologize.
So, in my opinion, it's a management issue. I sat on that committee years ago, and not to disparage anyone who was a former employee, but when we make recommendations, they would fall upon deaf ears. So, you know, when there's an issue and it's identified and management takes action, that's when you identify how long it's been going on and, you know, how do you correct it and things like that. So just from being on that committee and trying to make a difference, but being blocked by the management, that's what it was.
Mayor Armstead?
I'm not going to concur with that answer. I'm going to say that there was mismanagement there, and for years.
Wait, can you clarify? You say mismanagement?
Yes, mismanagement.
How?
Mismanagement by those who are responsible for the leaf composting, those who are responsible for the Department of Public Works, those who are responsible for the landfill. And that is one of the reasons that we brought in Frank Dan to try to remedy and fix some of the problems that we're having down there. And I think that's exactly what he's doing now. This is one of the problems that has occurred, and he's trying to fix it, and he's to be commended for his efforts to straighten it out.
So the bottom line is, we need this $25,000, or this contract to do the screening. This is the only feasible alternative we have, correct? Yes,
To
sir.
fix a problem that he inherited.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and we got quotes on this. This is
Yeah.
the lowest quote for screening.
Just amazed, but, all right, thank you.
All right, Mrs. Malik, Resolution 46.
Oh, that was handled when I was talking about the Union County and about George Verchick, so that's done.
Okay. All right.
I'm done? Okay.
You want to stay up here on 53?
Okay. Oh, the simple, Director of Parks and Recreation. Can we not do this in-house? And this individual, how is the reporting structure, let's just start with that. How's the reporting structure going to be for this individual?
Mr. Bodek?
Sure. This is hiring a company to go out and solicit and help identify people and urge them to apply for this position as Director of Parks and Recreation in the city of Linden. It's basically a headhunter type firm.
Right, and also the Director of Parks and Recreation, in terms of the structure in Linden.
That was addressed in the resolution, the ordinance that was adopted in December by this council.
And can you just,
I don't have it in front of me.
can someone say, where's that person going to report to? All
He's the director. He is the
So-
top of the line.
right, so this has nothing with Public Works or public property or anything, it's totally
No.
separate? Okay, all right. And again, no one within house is able to do this. I know there's always an issue about posting for jobs, so this has all gone out, we've done our due diligence for.
We don't know if there's somebody in-house. If there is, they will file an application and compete with everybody else, and hopefully we'll get the best candidate out of it.
And Linden is, besides using the headhunter, are we doing using our own intelligence, going out and trying to find this individual?
No, that's why we hired a firm.
But I'm questioning why we really hired the firm. That's the bottom line.
So that we can find the best possible candidate.
Mr. Principato, Resolution 53. Same resolution.
This is a lot of money. $5,700.50 to find a person to fill a position as the Director of Parks and Recreation is too much money. I think that I've posted ads on Monster.com and so forth, and it's nowhere. This is a joke, seriously. This is ridiculous, the amount of money. I'm not going to get into other positions that were filled by throwing paper in the air, but we've found people for other positions, and we went outside of the city, which bothers the hell out of me, and I'm sure it bothers a lot of the residents of the city of Linden, especially the ones that are probably maybe qualified for that position. But $5,750 to post a job, to hire a firm, a management firm, to find someone is exorbitant. I think this needs to be put aside. I'll donate my time to help post the ad, and I'm sure it'll be under $1,000, maybe $200 max. But $5,750 is just too much. I mean, did we put this out for bid? I'm finding out now, everybody's finding out now, that we're not putting things out for bid. You know, like the engineering contract, these things aren't going out for bid. So how do we, as taxpayers, how are we okay with that we're not getting the best price we can get? How are we supposed to sit back here and say, oh well, that's fine? We can't be fine with that. And council members can't be fine with that too. I mean, you guys pay taxes here too, you know? So this is something, unless you can show me that this is the only alternative to get this job filled, you can prove that to me, then I may just ignore it, but I can't right now, and I'm sure a lot of other people aren't going to be able to. So, did we put it out for bid? How did we come up with this firm, this management firm?
Mr. Bodak?
We've used this firm a few times in the past for the same type of purpose, and we've had
Can-
good experience.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you remember exactly what position was filled by them?
We used it for the BA, which the person stepped aside when offered the job, and we used it to the Director of Community Services, Mr. Dan.
Okay. I'm not happy with either of those. I mean, no offense, I'm not saying that I'm not happy with the appointments. I'm just not happy with this firm has done. So I think that we need to take another route. Maybe post it within the city and go to an online job headhunter or job poster. So I think the council needs to knock this one down.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Principato. Mr. Halloran, same resolution, number 53.
Okay, do I get to go for 47 at the same time?
I'll do 53, then we'll do 47.
Okay, 53. It says here that we're hiring a management headhunter to look for a Director of Parks and Recreation. Isn't this department under community services?
We're looking to separate it now.
No, sir, it was separated by ordinance in December.
Okay, but again, had they posted this on any citywide bulletin boards to notify city employees who might be qualified that the job is even open?
Once the process opens, the city employees will be provided the opportunity to apply, as will people from the outside.
All the employees will be able to apply.
Okay, but, okay, I guess that answers that question.
Okay, we'll go to Resolution 47.
47, again, how are you? What do we need a legal firm for when we have city attorneys for this?
Thank you. I could tell you, Mr. Bodek, I'll speak on his behalf. The clerk's office is inundated with Oprah requests, not just from residents, from anybody who's entitled to submit an Oprah request. I don't know the exact number, but I would venture to say it's several hundred Oprah requests a year.
Rough, we had over 1,000.
See, I even underestimated. Over 1,000 Oprah requests last year. So it was discussed with Mr. Bodek that it would be prudent to have an attorney essentially assigned to him to handle those Oprah requests, because they do take a lot of time. And obviously, if Mr. Bodek makes an improper response, he then could be individually sued and potentially be on the hook for a fine. So this is something that, while I believe in transparency and obviously the public's right to obtain documents, this is something that needs to be taken seriously.
Okay, so it's basically the city CYA by hiring an outside firm?
You said it, but that sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Halloran. Mr. Javik, can we have a motion on resolutions number 40, 42, 46, 47, and 53?
Yes, Council President, I move for a approval of resolutions number 40, 42, 46, 47, and 53, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
So I'm voting no on 47 because we're going to have employees, attorneys that are working 30 hours or more. That's just they can work on that. I'm voting no on 53 because in the years past, I made a recommendation that we actually have a personnel manager who's qualified to look for and, headhunt, if you will, individuals. So I'm voting no for 53 as well.
Roman?
I will vote yes, but I will also vote no for 53.
To which one, John?
53, sir.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes to all and no to number 53.
Mrs. Yamikaitis?
Yes. Okay, Mrs. Malik, resolution number 54.
Simple. Why? I think it was a month or two ago, there were some resolutions that people were going to be paid back salaries retroactive, like a whole year. I will not mention any names, but why to this one here?
Mrs. Zach?
In December, we passed the salary ordinance. The salary ordinance, you have to wait a certain number of days before it becomes effect. This resolution authorizes the payment for the department heads, the unaffiliateds, to be paid once that salary, we had to wait until that salary ordinance passed, which was at December's meeting, which we spoke about.
Can you just refresh, is it permissible, just to refresh my memory, why we allowed it back then? You had to go back a year?
Well, again, just based, we did that at the end of the year because we waited until all the bargaining units had settled, and we completed the salary ordinance for all titles that had not received any compensation in the year 2018.
No compensation?
No, if I may,
the
Ms.
raises.
Sachs?
What do you mean by
Mr.
no
Rocco.
compensation? Well,
Ms.
so
Malik,
I
what
just
we
find it
normally-
strange, just one question
sorry,
or one
please.
comment. The retroactive, so you say no compensation, they were being paid, they were not getting some sort of a raise?
They didn't get, yes. Ms. Malik, the way it works, we've always worked here, is that the unaffiliated department heads, except for the statutory officers who
What's
are
an
gracious
unaffiliated,
enough.
what's an unaffiliated department head? Give me a for
There's
instance.
Department heads, Ms. Zach, Mr. Antonelli, Mr. Dan, they're department heads. They run our departments. The unaffiliated are individuals who are not part of a bargaining unit, like myself. I can't, I negotiate the contract, so I can't be part of a bargaining unit. We have other employees who are not part of the bargaining unit, who are also not department heads. So historically, and again, our constitutional officer, Mr. Bodag, they all wait until we finish negotiations with the other unions, and then then Ms. Zach and the council ascertain a fair and appropriate increase for the department heads and the unaffiliated, because there is no one to bargain for them. So what we do is then, it might be, there was times when they didn't get a raise for 2 years, and it was retroactive because we took 2 years to settle the contracts. So that's why it's retroactive, because
There was
we
a
don't
lag
do
in
anything.
time.
Right.
In terms of the negotiations. That's
Correct.
it. Okay, all right.
Okay, Mrs. Malik, also Resolution 62 while you're up here.
Simple also, to do what? Provide consulting services. I understand that this Linden First is a very good program, and who's the woman that heads it? She's a Reverend something?
Reverend Pam.
Reverend Pam, doing a great job for this. Why are we going out for consulting services?
Mayor Armstead?
$10,000 for this?
We feel that with the new industry that's coming in town and all the developments, we're going to probably have to step up our efforts for recruitment, and she is going to be spearheading that effort, and we just feel at the time that she's putting in, it's worth it monetarily.
When you're saying recruitment, all right, industry's coming in here, so industry is going to be recruiting these individuals. We are just providing a platform in which potential recruits and the employer can come together, correct?
Exactly.
So what do we need a consulting service to do
Well,
what?
we provide a service. We not only do we just send people there, we have those individuals come to our location.
Job fairs?
We have job fairs. We try to help with the resume preparation. There's a number of things that we do, but if you'd like, Mrs. Jones is in the audience right now. Perhaps she could give you a bit of an overview if you'd like.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine, but still, we do have the platform already, and just being able to be proactive. I know that you, Mayor, say that, the industry is coming in, we can do a lot. So as the industry comes in, and I always hear you saying that we would like to have them hire from, Linden First. I still can't fathom what someone else is going to be doing for $10,000, that we should not already be proactive when someone comes in and say, hey, you're coming in, how many people are you going to be hiring, potentially 100, 1,000, 50? $10,000 doesn't just cut the mustard for me for doing anything for the city.
Reverend Pam?
Come to the
Reverend
mic,
Pam, can you
please.
please come up?
Mayor Armstead, the council, and all who are present here tonight. I just want to give information on the question at hand as it relates to Linden First. Linden First is an opportunity where the citizens of Linden are able to discover what positions are available. We are the organization that gathers for the new companies that are coming to town, and also existing companies depend on us to help them with their recruiting needs. As an example, with Superfresh coming in, they're going to have about 80 jobs that are going to become available. They're from another place. They're from New York. They don't know anything about Linden. So what we're doing is providing Linden the service to be able to get information out to the community, and in a very organized fashion, discover what positions they're hiring for. They happen to be cashiers, they're going to be people to work in department, stockers, et cetera. And so as a result, we then work to take in the application. They have an application process. We take in the application process. But more importantly, we educate the citizens of Linden about how to apply for a job, the things that are needed, making sure that they have resumes so that they're prepared, so that they can be competitive. So we're looking out for our citizens being able to get the jobs, whereas if it were left to Superfresh, they could hire anybody from anywhere. And then you would have a lot of people coming from other areas into Linden. This more or less protects it. It takes people to do that. The telephones, the computers that are necessary, all of the screening processes that we assist with, preparing the citizens to give them an opportunity to have that chance for the job. Soft skills we provide to them, resume preparation, as well as interviewing skills, and any other areas. We also help them. Say, for example, it's like a full service. If they need slip-resistant shoes, let's use that as an example, in the deli department, and they have not worked in maybe 4 or 5 months, and they're kind of depressed as it relates to the finances. Well, we're able to work and have a means by which we can help them to at least get that. If the difference between them taking a job is a pair of shoes, then obviously we're going to make sure that our Linden residents are prepared to make sure. And if you could just witness the people who say, you know, it feels so good to have a paycheck every week. And that's what we do. We have a call from Amazon. They're asking us to help. Why? Because we do such a wonderful job, and I'm not saying that because we do it, but we have a reputation now where they want us to help find citizens of Linden to help, you know, to find jobs within Amazon. The same thing is going on with FedEx. The same thing with UPS. And the list just continues to go on and on. We get calls. I just shared with the mayor today a personal email that I got just yesterday where Amazon is saying, we need people and we're paying, you know, $14+ an hour, and if you could help us. Well, I think by having someone who has a structured organization, because we have to pay the people in our organization to do this. And so they're, you know, making all of the efforts. We will have a job fair. We will use facilities that are here in Linden. We don't have to pay for those facilities. But what we do is we go there and we set up days. So every Monday from X o'clock to X o'clock, it's a big announcement. You know, we're hiring for Superfresh, and then we prepare our individuals to get ready for that. And then, of course, we connect them to that employer, and then we can make the recommendations of the people. They make the final choice, but we can make the recommendations of those who are to be hired. Linden First has been operating. When Sam's Club went out of business, all of the people who came to a fair that we set up in less than 3 days, we were able to get, all except for 3 people, jobs. We were able to work with our network. So we were in partnership with BJ's. We were in partnership with ShopRite. So the benefits, it just simply means we're in partnership with these organizations. The mayor, when someone comes to town with a business, he's trying to make sure that people from Linden are getting the jobs. And he can't just wave his flag and say, you know, come on and get a job, come on Linden people and get a job. It has to be a very structured way by which we're able to get our people employed. And if we have people that can't cut the mustard or are short or are lacking for some reason, that's why we have classes to strengthen them. So every Monday, we have classes in the board planning room on the 3rd floor for anybody who's interested in employment. Not only that, we have 2 job fairs every year. Our last job fair was in September. We had 351 people come out to the job fair. All of them were not Linden residents, but the majority of them were. And they can't, but the word is out, so everybody is kind of depending on Linden First to get a job. As it relates to the county efforts, you know, we exceed a lot of the county efforts because of the virtue that Linden is smart enough to work smart to, in their economic development area, They want to see Linden people get jobs. They want to see Linden people prepared. We also partner with apprenticeship programs. We have some right now who are learning how to, do the trades and are getting the skills and the qualifications that are needed. And we help to prep them and get them ready so that they can get through this rigorous exercise. And thereby, they're able to connect with unions, especially since we have the connection of the mayor who knows every construction site. He knows about every union. And then we partner, because of the relationship through the mayor's office, we're able to partner and help those people get jobs. We just finished with another apprenticeship program where we put the word out trying to get people to become EMT certified. And so we're about educating the people, apprenticeships, we're about job fairs, we're about classes every Monday to try to get people who have employer needs, where we're able to fulfill the employer needs of the city with our people that we get to know. And then last but not least, we work with the large companies that come into Linden, and that's a lot of work.
And did you vet this company as going to be providing these consulting services?
We are the company. Yes, I sure did. Yeah, Linden First, I am the CEO of Communities in Cooperation, Inc., and Linden First is the program that has been assigned to us under the economic development arm of the city. Okay, thank you.
Pastor Pam, if you possibly have a business card, maybe you can meet with Ms. Malik
Absolutely.
afterward?
I would be happy
Okay.
to do that, yes.
Thank
I'll
you.
get it to you.
Okay. Hit this.
Alex Laspinoso, LEDC Director. If you were to compare apples to apples in reference to the county job programs, compared to what Pastor Pam and Linden First has done, it is like complete opposite in terms of, the amount of funding the county programs are getting as opposed to the results. Some of these county programs too, they have, full-time employees. Their budgets are very significant compared to what we're giving her. Some of these employees have benefits, pensions. Pastor Pam, as she mentioned, she's done a terrific job with the Sam's Club and other jobs programs. And then not only that, when we have the biggest warehousing district next year with over potentially 3,000 employees, she's going to be absolutely instrumental in finding these employees, potential employees, jobs. So.
Thank you, Mr. Laspinosa. Okay, Mr. Halloran, resolution number 56.
That was 56?
Yes.
Okay, let me find it on the list. Okay, I thought we had somebody working with the city government to provide funding sources, but the one funding source I don't see here is why isn't the county, or is that listed under local?
Mrs. Zach?
Again, why are we paying somebody again to do the same job that I thought we had somebody working for us to do?
We have engaged a grant writer for the last several years. This is the grant writer that we've been utilizing. Right now, we're in the process of reviewing, the Finance Committee's reviewing the work that had been performed to see if we're going to try to do something in-house or if we're going to continue to use a grant writer. So this is only until March 31st because we're running on a temporary budget. This grant writer is right now in the process of handling several grants that are ongoing and environmental infrastructure grant applications, along with the local freight impact. So right now, we are utilizing the grants person, and we are looking to see possibly if this is something we can eliminate in the future.
Okay, are they also looking at private funding from private corporations like New Jersey American Water, I know had a grant out for environmental issues?
Yeah, well, right now, this grants person actively looks for all types of funding opportunities, but we also internally, each department and each department head aggressively has staff members that also look for additional opportunities within their own departments. So the mayor and the finance committee and I have been looking at various alternatives to see what's best for the city.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Halloran, while you're up here, resolution 65.
Okay, let's see, 65.
Mr. Antonelli.
Okay, here we go again. 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, and I think we can throw in 72. I think these all involve attorneys. If we have a city attorney or a municipal attorney, why are we hiring all these other attorneys for the same job?
Sure. The law department consists of myself as the city attorney, as well as four assistant, actually 3 assistant municipal attorneys. The first deputy assistant essentially is my assistant, assists me in the law department with the day-to-day operations of the law department, obviously assisting department heads and et cetera. The 2 remaining assistant municipal attorneys are appointed under this statute and charter and ordinance, but they are also separately designated as the chief prosecutor and the assistant prosecutor in court. So that's why you see some additional resolutions, but you see actually 2 of the individuals, their names are the same. So this is done for a 3-year appointment. I was last appointed 3 years ago. If all goes well tonight, I will be appointed tonight. But in any event, that's what we do. It's a 3-year term, and then 2 of the assistants are separately designated as the chief prosecutor and the assistant municipal prosecutor.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mrs. Malik, Resolution 66. We probably could group 67 and 68 with that.
So I have my answer. So Ms. Crosby and Mason, they are the assistants currently, correct?
No,
The
they
assistant-
they would
these are
be
the-
newly appointed if
Duly
the
appo-
resolution passes.
Okay, so what type of complement are you looking at that you think that your law department needs to run the city? Or to do your
Sure.
job?
Through the budgeting process, I submitted a table of organization. There are certain things that I handle as city attorney, interface primarily with mayor and council on a day-to-day basis, including weekends and nights, early mornings.
Well, well, let me just ask, what's the complement? So you just said that there's yourself and 3 others, so there's 4.
So
and say-
I'm going to explain it. So then there's a deputy assistant.
Which we have.
The deputy handles a multitude of tasks as assigned by me, but primarily the deputy handles discipline here in the city of Linden, handles certain transactional matters with regard to contracts and leases, and works essentially at my direction. The remaining 2 assistant municipal attorneys, as I indicated previously, while they're appointed as assistant municipal attorneys, they are also separately designated as the chief prosecutor and the assistant prosecutor.
Okay, you didn't have to repeat that. I guess I'm asking, why do you need these other individuals? That's why I said this Crosby and Mason are not already there. Then I asked the question, what is the complement that you're looking for? So
These individuals are being proposed to replace the individuals that are currently in the position. So
that
this
because-
does not create any new hire.
gonna stay at
These
4.
are replacements.
So it'll stay at 4.
Correct.
That's with Ms. Crosby and Ms. Mason, correct?
Right, those would be new hires. Mohammed Jallo is also the assistant prosecutor. He was appointed last year for a 3-year term, so he obviously is not before the council for consideration this evening.
So
it's a
once
total
again,
of
we're only
4.
going to stay at 4.
It's a total of 4
So
attorneys in
when
the law
other people
department.
leave, that's, okay. Then I guess one thing which I'm confused is Ms. Cosby, she's also listed here, oh no, Deidre Mason, sorry, I stand corrected. Deidre Mason is going to be the chief municipal prosecutor. So how can she have the 2 different roles?
Sure, and that's a very good question. The city of Linden operates under what's called the Wildwood Act.
The what kind of act?
And in this form of government, by statute, the position of city attorney, which is my position, is created by statute and is given a 3-year term. In addition to that, the statute allows council to determine the number of assistant municipal attorneys that should be in the law department. So they have done that.
And that's fixed at 4 total. Okay.
Correct. But in this form of government, Ms. Malik, by separate statute, not the Wildwood Act, but by separate statute, we have to designate one attorney as the chief prosecutor and one attorney as the municipal prosecutor.
From that pool of 4?
Correct.
Okay.
So because we're allowed to create, or council, I should say, is allowed to create an assistant municipal attorney position, that's how they're appointed. The separate resolution just designates that individual as the chief prosecutor or the assistant municipal prosecutor according to the prosecutor statute.
All right, so for Ms. Cosby and Ms. Mason, their term is going to start, this is for number 66 and 67, January 1st, 2019, and end 1 December 2020, 2021. So 2 people that are already working for you, they've already left, and these 2 women are taking their place?
So,
Is that correct, how I read this?
Right, so the term ended December 31st of 2018. So the attorneys are on a holdover status. So the term commences January 1st, but the attorneys currently serving the city will have worked for the city for the first 15 days of January.
And then they leave?
If these resolutions pass this evening, those individuals would then commence employment with the city tomorrow, January 16th.
These people?
Correct. But the term is still from January 1st to December 31st, 2020.
Right, so let's say by Monday of next week, then 2 people will have left your office, and these 2 people will be replacing them, correct? So you're still going to be a complement of 4?
That is correct.
Okay. Then if that's the case, then I don't understand the Jillian Lazar and Mohammed Jallo, that's going to increase your complement, and even Welsh above the complement of 4.
Okay, while they are attorneys as well, believe it or not, that's not my department. So by law and by statute, this governing body must appoint a municipal public defender. And in this case, the governing body has determined that in order to service those individuals that are approved for public defender services, that there should be 2 public defenders. So in this case, we're appointing 1 chief public defender, that would be Jill Lazar, and the assistant public defender would be Michelle Welsh. That's not in my department, Ms. Malik, but that is a separate resolution for those 2 appointments.
Right, so we have kind of 3 legal departments. Mr. Roth is in one legal department, like personnel, but it's personnel. Okay, but you're a
Mr.
lawyer.
Roth is in the personnel
He's a
department.
lawyer, right. You're in the city attorney.
Law
And then
department.
we'll have public defenders that the city of Linden provides someone that can't defend themselves at our cost, okay?
Actually, I will say this, Ms. Malik, the individuals in court that are approved for public defender services are required to pay a fee as determined by the judge, up to $200. That goes into a dedicated fund.
Wait, who
And,
pays this fee?
the individual who gets appointed the public defender.
Okay.
So they do pay something for services. It's not certainly market rate, but in any event, the court does assess a fee to that individual who's approved for the public defender. Those monies go into a dedicated fund, and those funds then are used to offset some of the public defender salaries.
Right, but I'm sure it's this compared to this. Okay, fine, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Malik. Mr. Principato, resolutions, we'll group them 65, 66.
Council President, I wanted to respond
I
to-
will recognize you after the public speaks.
John Principato. Mr. Antonelli, how much do you make a year, if you don't mind me asking? Because it's not on here, it's on everybody else's.
Yeah, it's not on the resolution because I'm already employed by the city, but my salary is $99,000, I believe, $990.
Plus 2.5% today, right?
If the resolution passes, correct.
How many hours do you work a week, or are you contracted to work a week?
I keep track of time. I work anywhere between 25, 30 hours a week, some weeks longer, some weeks shorter. It depends on the workload. I do work weekends as well. Do
you have a private practice?
I do, sir.
Okay. And do you live in Linden?
I do not, sir. The resolution asks for a residency waiver.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go resolution by resolution, I guess?
Yes.
We'll just,
Do you have any questions on the other?
no,
While we're up here on those?
I'm just trying to figure out who we're replacing where. So I'm trying to find out who we're replacing, exactly where we're replacing them. Obviously, we're not replacing you. This is just a re-up of your appointment.
Mr. Antonelli, could you maybe name the positions?
Absolutely. So obviously, I'm replacing myself. No, I'm just kidding. So there are several resolutions on for this evening. Ms. Tracy Cosby, if approved, would be replacing Daniel McCarthy, who's currently the Deputy Assistant Municipal Attorney. Ms. Deidre Mason, if approved, would be replacing Nicholas Scutari, and Mr. Mohammed Jallo, who's being separately designated this evening as the Assistant Prosecutor, is not replacing anybody. So those two individuals, Ms. Cosby and Ms. Mason, would be replacing the individuals I just mentioned.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you're asking this as well, but as to the public defenders, Ms. Jill Lazar, she would be replacing Tony Palumbo, if approved, and Ms. Michelle Welsh, if approved, would be replacing Michael Simmons.
All right, so we'll just go to, you're going to go to the next one.
Thank you for your comment. Councilwoman Hickey?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just, I was a lot of speaking there regarding to Ms. Malik, one of my 10th Ward residents. What really is going on here, to simplify it for everyone, is last night we received resolutions that our prosecutor, Nick Scutari, and the other names that were just mentioned by our attorney, Dan Antonelli, are being fired, and we're replacing those positions with new individuals. I wasn't aware of it until last night. I didn't know there was a problem with any of our attorneys. So just to simplify it, we're not adding any new employees. We're not taking away any new attorneys. The attorneys that have been on for Nick Scutari, for Dan McCarthy, for Michael Simmons, and for Palumbo are just being replaced by new chosen, not by myself, but new chosen attorneys.
Thank you for your comments, Councilwoman. Councilman Javik, can I have a motion on resolutions number 54, 56, 62, 65, 66? That was part of the... Didn't you question all the attorneys?
Yeah, I have questions. I have questions.
You have further questions. Please come back up.
On number 66, the Assistant Municipal Attorney, is that the same pay rate that's being paid now?
Mr. Antonelli?
It's less,
Okay, how much less?
by approximately a little under $5,000.
Okay.
It's a savings.
All right, well, it's only a savings. See, there's a perceived savings, and there's a savings if you're getting an apple for an apple. You understand? So, with all due respect, if we're getting apples for apples, and it's $5,000 less, then it's a savings. If we're not getting apples for apples, and that's why I'm back up here, I want to know what kind of experience that Tracy Cosby has, and I want to know that the experience level is the same as the person that she's replacing, because this is not just, you know, a job that's menial.
Mr. Antonelli?
Well, Mr. Principato, I think it's a very unfair question because I think there's no two attorneys that have the same experience. There's no question that either the new attorneys that are being proposed to be appointed or the attorneys that are being replaced all are qualified for the position. And I'm not in a position to comment, nor would I, and get in the middle of determining who has more or better qualifications than another. But I will say that all the attorneys, those that are being replaced and those that are being appointed, are qualified for the respective positions.
So this person has been an assistant municipal attorney before?
I believe she has. She's had public entity experience. I believe she's been practicing law for maybe a little over 20 years for some period of time. So she is, in my opinion, more than capable for the position.
Okay. And on 67, would you state the same thing?
Ms. Mason, as well, is more than capable to handle the position of Chief Municipal Prosecutor, yes. I believe she currently does public defender services in another town in Essex County. She does have municipal court experience, and she's capable for, more than capable to handle the position.
Does she live in Linden? She's replacing Scutari, who lives in Linden, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Does she live in Linden?
She does not.
Does she live in Union County?
I believe so. We're asking for a residency waiver, sir.
Why don't we try to find someone that lives in Linden? Is that not a fair question?
Oh, I thought it was a statement. That's not my decision, sir.
All right. Yeah, I think this is political retribution, in my opinion. I mean, the mayor even stated that the council votes on certain things, as he yelled at Senator Scutari. So I'm just putting two and two together. And it's very convenient that the meeting that I was at, where the mayor stated that, was, I don't know, maybe a week ago. And I think that this is going to be detrimental to the citizens of Linden. You're taking someone who has a vast amount of experience and replacing them with someone that no one even knows, you know? And I don't know, this just baffles my mind, you know? I mean, but it's par for the course at the same time, you know? It is. I don't think we should just be replacing chief municipal prosecutors on whims. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Councilman Javik, can we have a motion on resolutions number 54, 56, 62, 65, 66, 67, and 68.
Council President, I move for approval of resolutions number 54, 56, 62, 65, 66, 67, and 68.
Second.
And ask for a second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
So I'm voting no on 54. I'm voting no on 62. I'm abstaining on 65. And did anybody say 64?
No, was not pulled.
No.
That wasn't pulled.
And I'll vote 64? I voted on that already then? Yeah. Okay. And yes to the rest.
Roman?
I'm voting no to Resolution 2019-66, 67, and 68, and I will vote yes to the rest.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
No to 66, 67, and 68. Rest of the yes to the remainder.
Hickey?
My apologies, did we do, is 61 included in this one? Or is it the last
No,
one?
ma'am.
No.
No. Yes to all with the exception, no to 66, 67, and 68.
Mrs. Yamakaitis?
Yes to all. Okay, Mr. Halloran, Resolution 59.
Let me, okay, 69, I mean, I believe all my comments have been answered already about
Okay, thank you.
attorneys.
You want to stay up here for 70?
70, okay. Again, it, I believe my questions have been answered as far as why we're hiring attorneys and not hiring attorneys, whatever.
Okay, and how about 72?
72, okay. Again, we need a special labor council as a needed,
Okay, Mr. Antonelli, Resolution number
Yes,
72?
thank you. Sir, yeah, so we have a resolution on for Special Labor Council. There are certain pending matters where there's a conflict and the need to assign outside labor counsel is required. As everyone is aware, Mr. Roth, who's our labor relations specialist, handles the bulk of the disciplinary matters. But in this particular instance, there are some conflicts upon Mr. Roth that is requiring us to consult with outside labor counsel to assist us in those matters.
Okay, I'll take that as an answer. Thank you.
Mr. Halloran. Mr. Yamakaitis, Resolution number 73. No, they didn't.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President.
Please state your name and address.
Daniel Yamakaitis, 921 McGilvery Place. You may recognize that name, McGilvery, as the first mayor of Linden. Yes.
Good evening.
Interesting fact. Okay, so I'm here as president of the 8th Ward Democratic Club. We submitted a letter to Chairman Scutari regarding the vacancy of the 8th Ward seat. I believe the chairman sent a letter to the council of 3 names that were recommended, but they were not the names we recommended. I would like to read the letter I sent to Mr. Scutari. Dear Chairman Scutari and committee members, kindly accept this letter as 3 recommendations from the 8th Ward Democratic Club to fill vacancy of the 8th Ward Council seat. The 8th Ward Democratic Club officially met on Wednesday, January 9th, 2019, which Chairman Scutari failed to come to the meeting. He was invited, and discussed the nominations from 8th Ward Democratic Club. The following members were nominated to be presented to the City Council In the past, it has been the precedent that the city committee presented to the city council the name of 3 candidates that the 8th Ward Democratic Club and any active ward club has recommended to fill a vacant council seat. Since the 8th Ward is an active ward club in the community, and as local Democrats in the 8th Ward, actually the first stronghold of the 8th Democratic Party in Linden was the 8th Ward. We feel we know who would best serve our community. The following individuals we would like to present this Linden City Council for consideration. Mr. Garnett Blaine, who resides at East Blanky Street. Mr. Blaine has been a resident of 8th Ward and an active member of the Linden community for the past 11 years. Mr. Blaine has been active in the community as a Pop Warner coach, helping instill good character and values to the youth of the city of Linden. He also has 30 years experience in the financial sector. In these tough economic times, our members felt this would be a beneficial to the city in helping to continue to stabilize taxes. The Ward Club also felt that this recommendation would be a great step in continuing what Council President Yamakaitis has done in the past 13 years as councilperson. We need a councilperson who will work with our former councilwoman for the betterment of 8th Ward community and city, and not working with county officials and everything like that. We need a council person who will work. He is focused and dedicated to the future of 8th Ward and Linden. We feel these attributes demonstrate that Garnett Blaine is the best person for the job. We as the 8th Ward Democratic Club have voted unanimously to recommend to the Democratic Committee Garnett Blaine as a candidate to fill the said vacated seat. The second recommendation was Miss Patty Murgo, who resides at 2519 Greer Avenue. Ms. Murgo has been a resident of the 8th Ward for 18 years. She is also very active in the community, serving as an executive board member in Follis, serving for the many years on the Board of Health Commissioner, a former commissioner of the Environmental Commission, the Mayor's Youth Commission, a Democratic committee woman, and former president and treasurer of the 8th Ward Democratic Club. Ms. Murgo has a background in finance and would also be an asset to the 8th Ward community. Mr. Mark Armstead was born and raised in the city of Linden, presently resides on Monmouth Avenue. Mark has been involved in many community activities, served as second vice president and trustee of our club. He has 30 years as a missions assistant at Propriety Schools, has been a fundraiser for Oakland Police Department, San Francisco's Police Officers Association, and Correctional Peace Officers Association in the state of California. Presently, he's working towards a degree in political science. Please feel free to contact us to further discuss this recommendation. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Best regards, Daniel Yamakaitis, President, 8th Ward Democratic Club. Michelle Yamakaitis, Council President, City of Linden. So this letter was presented to Chairman Secretary at the committee meeting the day after. There was a motion on the floor to put those recommendations towards you, but it was denied. The motion wasn't even heard. So in the history of the City Ward Club's tradition of nominating 3 candidates, submitting the chairman and committee to council. Chairman's actions disrespects our part of our city and ward's history, the first democratic area of Linden. Purpose of the Ward Club was to promote democratic values in the city and help wards have strong democratic base and be a feeding ground to assist local council and committee members. Mr. Secretary has totally disrespected our club and these people who came before you and all the people that came before, members of council that came before us, i.e. George Mikowski, Albert Youngblood. Shame on him and all the committee people who do not live in 8th Ward who have blindly supported this tyrant. Chairman did not meet with Councilwoman Shelley Amakaitis, decided only to reach out to her the day of the committee meeting and called her while she was at work. And we were decided by, this was the names you were given were decided by committee members who have no interest in the 8th Ward community. So I agree the vacancy of the seat is the best option we have due to the fact the chairman is acting as a tyrant and believes he can dictate to council who should be the 8th Ward in the 8th Ward seat. It is disheartening that the 8th Ward seat will have to be vacant for a year since it's been filled since 1925, which was filled by our first fire chief, Mr. Bursey. This seat has been since 1925. That's all I have to say. Thank you. And this copy of letters to Mr. Boda.
You can look at it and please give it to the council. Okay. And Joe. Mr. Boda, can you please make sure council receives a copy of that?
So I urge council to vote yes to keep the seat vacant, and the 8th Ward will answer in June on who we want as councilman.
Okay, Mr. Halloran?
I know, number 73. right?
Yes.
Yes. How is the 8th Ward being represented on city council right now?
I can answer that for you. I am a resident of the 8th Ward for 26 years. I am more than capable of, I've been answering the calls since I took the council
Okay,
presidency.
I'm good.
So I will not
Excellent.
let the 8th Ward go forgotten, okay?
Just
I will
asking
be
the
able to
question.
represent the 8th Ward as well as being council president,
Okay, that
Okay.
answers my question. Thank you.
and I would like to make that clear to all the residents. You could still call me, you have been calling me, I've been calling the department heads, Mr. Dan, Mr. Patina, Parking and Transportation. The 8th Ward still has representation, okay? Same instance, if one of the council members here should fall sick, I would be able to help out in that capacity as well, so. Mr. Principato?
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. This is part of the political retribution that I was speaking of earlier. At that meeting, 3 qualified individuals were voted on by the Linden Democratic Committee, and the committee chair, by statute, is supposed to take those three names and give them to council and let council vote on one of those 3 names. They're very qualified individuals, you know, but this is the typical, you're not playing my game, so I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go home. So the 8th Ward residents are going to suffer, and with all due respect, you did a fantastic job while you were there, but you're not there any longer.
I don't live there?
So, no, I'm saying that you're
Excuse
not
me.
the 8th Ward council person any longer. So, I think,
Order.
I think that, you know, the right thing to do would to be to vote in one of those 3 candidates. No one came to the committee chair until the final hour when they heard that one of their people wasn't on their list. So,
Excuse me.
the vote was 35-17. It was unanimous that for those 3 candidates. So, you know, the council should vote on one of those three candidates. I don't even see it on here. So what was done was they just pushed it aside and said that we're going to keep that seat vacant, basically saying that they don't care about the residents in the 8th Ward. That's what they said. So, excuse me, Mr. Brown, Doo-Doo Brown?
Councilman Brown, I will give you an opportunity. And
Says he does everything but does nothing.
No
name calling.
Council members, that will not be tolerated.
Anyway, so that's basically all I have to say on this. The council should be voting on one of the three members that the committee chair gave to them, and they're refusing to because it doesn't conform to what the mayor wants. And that was the meeting where the mayor went off the wall yelling at the committee chair because one of his people wasn't one of the three. And one of the three are very qualified people, and I'm sure some other people know them up here, and they can attest to that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Council
Councilman
President,
Brown.
yes. Yeah, Mr. Principato, I mean, with all due respect, I don't think you know what goes through any of our heads here in council, nor do you know what we do day to day. I take offense to what you're saying that we don't care about the 8th Ward, because last time I checked, it was most of us here in council that would go to events in the 8th Ward, donate money out of our pocket, or do other things in the 8th Ward. It's not a matter of the 8th Ward, but the whole city of Linden. And I respect the councilwoman's position, where she's represented that 8th Ward for 13 years and currently still lives in that ward. And this is an attack on you, and nor anybody else. But I don't understand how you, who does not live in the 8th Ward, speaks against the wishes of the 8th Ward Club that just spoke here. They wrote a detailed letter of why they feel it, and we live in a democratic society. And for me to hear the words that you're saying up here, disrespecting us, making hypothetical situations that aren't even facts, adds fuel to the fire that right now, that Mr. Principato, is that I think if you attended the 8th Ward Club meeting, you
Mr.
would hear their
Principato,
concerns.
please be respectful to the members of the council.
And Mr. Principato, I'm just going to leave it at this. We had a nice, calm meeting. For you to name call me, this shows your level of maturity
Councilman
that
Brown,
I ask
stick
that
to
you
your-
correct by the next meeting.
Councilwoman Cosby.
Councilwoman Yamakaitis, our council president, does an awesome job in the 8th Ward. So we had worked well together. What my concern with this is that we are not giving ourselves an opportunity to have another point of view from that part of the neighborhood, from that part of the community. So I don't care what names you put. Give us all 6 names. Let us have an opportunity to, do our due diligence. You know what I mean? Because there's 6 people that were considered. One, I'm just concerned, but because I wouldn't want to appoint a relative unless they're running and seated. But the other 5, I feel like, why can't we just go back as democratic people, go through the names, and then pick one? Because I always have an opinion, always. And so not having an opinion from an empty seat doesn't help us at all. In my opinion, I feel like, I get it, the chairman didn't do what was expected, or, didn't go the way it had gone in previous instances. However, I just feel like we're lacking if we don't have another person who can give their opinion, to the governing body. So, I'm going to vote no. I was just hoping that we could possibly give us all the names. Give us another opportunity to do that. And this is technically legal, I get it. But again, we're not going to have someone else's point of view, someone else's vision, and that would actually help us for this year. And whoever wants the seat bad enough is going to run for that seat and get it. Because I didn't get appointed to my seat. It took me 2 times to run and get that seat. You know what I mean? So just showing up and coming to a meeting once or twice is not the same as having a community connection, if you will. So I'm just saying, maybe we should appoint somebody, give us all the names, and maybe we can do it that way. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Ormond.
I believe a government is for the people, by the people. The residents of the 8th Ward clearly spoke. They actually heard one of the committee's choices and unanimously said no, based on him being a club member and his lack of participation with the group. This is a group that has been established for many, many years, and they take their community very seriously. They will not let an outsider come in and dictate how to run the club or do anything. And I'm going to be honest with you, I get kind of like offended when people that never walk in our neighborhoods, because I grew up in that neighborhood. I lived in that neighborhood from the time I was 7 until I got married, until about maybe 11 years ago. I was an 8th Warder, right in Michelle's ward. And I get offended when people want to make choices for the neighborhood who never step foot in the neighborhood. They don't have family members there, they don't have friends there, and they don't even drive through the area of town because it's one of the areas that they're not so favorable for them. So I get offended. Just like I got offended with the Russians that meddled in our US elections, I'm offended with the committee, and you are so rude, Mr. Principato. You are just rude. Keep your comments and your lips shut while I'm talking.
Excuse me.
I deserve the respect.
Mr.
Is there-
Principato,
Yes,
I will
I am.
ask to have you removed.
Okay? So just let me speak. But like I said, I'm just taken aback by that. All of a sudden, everybody is interested in the 8th Ward. Everybody. Everybody who just never, ever, ever bothered to come to any of Mrs. Yamakaitis' Easter egg hunts. You never come to her events with Santa. You don't come to her community barbecue. But now you have the audacity, the unmitigated gall, to want to pick the person that replaces her? Like I said, just think about how you would feel as an individual if somebody came and slapped you with that. You would sit back and say, no, I know what's best for my community. I know who's out there in the trenches. And I'm going to tell you something. One of the candidates, and I'm not going to mention a name, actually mentioned that they were going to move out of the area because of the element that was moving in. That is not someone that I want to represent my mom or my brother or any of the people that live in that community. You've got to love the people passionately, and you've got to want to work for the people, regardless of who they are. And this is not a position that we take lightly. We don't do it for the money. We do it because we love the job. And I honestly feel as though not selecting someone for the short time is going to level the playing field. May the best man get out there and knock on doors like all of us had, and may the best man or woman try to convince the voters that they're going to represent them the best. Let the voters ask that person questions as to why they should fill the seat or why they want the seat. Not someone, our chairman, who's never even met with this collective board in the 3 years that I've sat on there, all of a sudden decide what's best for us. Let the people decide. We've got 8th Ward people that have come here today that sat in that meeting and said, no, not on my watch are you going to tell me who's best for me. Let us decide because we are the people who live in that community. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I would like to also thank the 8th Ward Democratic Club. Some of the members are here this evening, some are working and cannot be here. We also have some members of our Young Dems who are watching how this ugly process with our Democratic Committee is taking place. As Councilwoman Cosby had mentioned, all those names should have been brought forward to that committee, if possible, okay? Historically, as Mr. Yamakaitis said, when you had a sitting ward club, those ward clubs were there to promote the democratic process. They are the eyes and ears of the community to push the Democratic council, committee members, to work with their council people. They have been the ones to always bring forth the names to council. And it was totally ignored by our chairman. He did not reach out to me at all to even see if the 8th Ward Club had a nomination. We were totally disregarded, which is totally disrespectful on his part. I received a phone call the day of the committee meeting, while, as Mr. Yamakaitis said, while I was in work, and told, oh, I am in court all day, so I probably won't be able to take your phone call. So 5 o'clock, I receive a phone message that, you got a copy of my letters. I'm sure you're happy with my recommendations. No, Mr. Scutari, we were not happy with your recommendations. The 8th Ward Club is here tonight to ask, why was Mayor Armstead, who graciously offered to read the letter from the 8th Ward Democratic Club to the members of the committee for consideration, why it was ignored? The mayor was totally disrespected at that meeting. He asked to bring forth a motion to have those names considered, as Councilwoman Cosby had mentioned. It was totally ignored. So much for parliamentary procedure with the committee. It's a disgrace. Yes, Mr. Principato, the committee did vote, but the 8th Ward committee members did not support that. Why are they committee members, Democratic committee members for the 8th Ward? I ask the committee people that. Shame on all of them that voted against the 8th Ward. It's not going to be tolerated. Sitting here, I have lived in the 8th Ward for 26 years. I grew up across the border right on Greer Avenue, so I'm very familiar with the 8th Ward. I can serve, I am currently serving the residents of the 8th Ward if they have an issue right now, and I will continue to serve in that capacity. My feeling is, if there's not a fair process here, leave the seat vacant so we have an even playing field for all the candidates. We know the game that the senator is trying to play, and it's not fair, and it won't be tolerated. I urge the members of this council to leave that seat vacant. I will serve the residents of the 8th Ward, as I always have, as well as serve as council president until that seat is duly elected. Have an even playing field. Let the door knocking begin. So I urge council to support me on that. This has always been the process with Democratic Club. If there is a sitting ward club, made the recommendation. I have Councilman Sadowski here this evening. When Councilman Crane stepped down, the 6th Ward Democratic Club made the recommendation. Councilman Strano is sitting here because the 7th Ward Club made a recommendation. Councilman Sadowski asked if he could say a few words, and I will grant him the time. Please come up.
Bob Sadowski, 146 Cedar Avenue, former 6th Ward councilman. Going back 9.5 years when I was on, it was Charlie Crane who was the 6th Ward person. He had a 6th Ward
Democratic Club.
Committee, club, whatever it is we went to. They proposed me. There was people on the board then who was against me. And I remember Bobby Bunk, he made a simple statement. He said, it was the 6th Ward Club who picked this person. Not 7th, not 5th, 4th, and we should obey what they want. And I think this is the same thing. Because I got in a couple of months before the regular election. But it was on a special thing where the people voted.
And the recommendation came from the 6th
But
Ward.
I remember Bobby Bunk basically slammed that hammer and he told 3 people, close your mouth, you have nothing to say about this. This is a 6th Ward Democratic. Just like this should be an 8th Ward. And the club, they should be the one to pick it. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Public. Councilman Roman?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to try to collect my thoughts and reason why I'm going to vote the way I'm going to. I have a vast, great amount of respect for Council President Yamakaitis and the great job she's done for the 8th Ward and so far as Council President. And I have the utmost respect for my former councilman, Councilman Sadowski. When we ran a race against each other, both of us remained positive. No one ever went negative. And honestly, I wish a lot of the other races in the city were like ours. So Bob, I want you to know that, and I've always told you this, but I very much respect your opinion. I want to echo Councilwoman Cosby. I didn't get appointed either. I got out of my community. I spoke to the people. I told them my vision. you know, and what I think that the downtown of Linden could be like, what the Sixth Ward could be like in the future going forward. And they responded. That being said, the statute is clear. It's kind of mostly clear, but the statute does say only 3 people, so as though I would wish that we could put all 5 people up, it's just 3 people, and that's what by New Jersey state law. So I'm going to vote yes for this, but you know, tyrannical is perspective. Some of us up here sometimes don't get a voice either. It's really tough. But I very much have respect for Councilwoman Yamakaitis, for Danny, and for the rest of the 8th Ward that I see in front of me. So that's that. Thank you, Council
Thank you,
President.
Councilman Roman. Okay. He didn't have a...
Council President, may I comment?
Sure, Mayor.
You know, at some point this evening, I heard that someone say the right thing to do. Okay? The right thing to do would have been to contact the former councilwoman of that ward, who was Michelle Yamakaitis, who served with distinction in that ward. And as my sister mentioned earlier, a ward that my mother lives in, a ward that my brother lives in, a ward that we still have considerable family in, and many friends. So the right thing to do would be to have contacted the former council person to see who she would have liked to see replace her. But unfortunately, in politics, sometimes people just can't do the right thing. But lucky for us that the people who wrote this statute had every intention on protecting the legitimacy of the process. Because when you think about it, no Democratic or Republican chair should be able to come into any room and say, I want so-and-so to be the replacement. So in infinite wisdom, they put a very unique clause prior to that, which says the governing body may fill the vacancy temporarily. So if the governing body doesn't agree with a particular chair or the process that is to follow, it gives them the option to say, we may not fill the vacancy. Okay, so there lies a very key part of the statute, may. Now, let's get back to doing the right thing, okay? It was said that the chairman wasn't reached out to. Well, I can show you text where he was reached out to. I implored him, I almost begged him to contact the councilwoman. I said it's pointless to put up names without consulting her, because she does know that ward like the back of her hand. She served, again, with distinction for so many years, okay? And he just totally ignored it, okay? Because you know why? You know, because we've gotten to the point where we get this power, and it goes to our heads. And I think that's exactly what's occurring here. We have a chairman who does not want to listen to the people. We have a chairman, quite honestly, I don't think he stepped foot in my ward, okay? I haven't seen him in the city. We haven't got a Turnpike Extender road yet. He hasn't, in the 14 years that he's been and served as a senator, put one dime to this city. And if someone can prove otherwise, I'll take that statement back, okay? But the reality here is that no one is going to dictate to this governing body what they think they should do, okay? Unfortunately, we can't put the other 3 names up, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to go back to that clause. The governing body may fill the vacancy temporarily by appointment, okay? And if they decide to fill it, then we go to that second part where we go to the chairman of the particular party that the person came from and appoint. But in this case, the governing body may or may not fill the vacancy. And I would encourage this governing body not to fill the vacancy, I would encourage them, if those individuals those names that were submitted are interested in being a council person in that ward, then let them get out and knock on some doors, shake some hands and kiss some babies and get elected. And that puts everybody on equal footing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Those are my sentiments exactly. Councilman Javik, can we have a motion, please, on resolutions number 59, 70, 72, and 73?
Council President, I move for approval of resolutions 59, 70, 72, and 73, and ask for a second.
Second. Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Absolutely, yes.
Cosby?
So, I'm voting no for 73, and I'm abstaining on 70. For the record, I was supposed to abstain on 71, too. I don't know if I said that when I was doing my notes, but I didn't the call. Oh, I'm sorry. I voted no on 73. I'm abstaining on 70 and 71, and yes to the rest.
Roman?
I will vote yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes to all, and on number 73, I am going to abstain. I think there's three sides to every story, and both sides have gotten very, very ugly. And I'm not a committee member, and I'm staying out of it. And I know Michelle would be fine. She's been an amazing councilwoman to take care of everything until November, but I don't know if that's legally right either. So I'm going to abstain.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Okay. Ordinances on first reading. Okay. Ordinance number 63-1.
One moment, please. Thank you, Council President. An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 14, Fire Prevention and Protection of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance adopting and enacting the revised general ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 63-1 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Brown? Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Ordinance 63-2.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance adopting and enacting the revised general ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and is amended and supplemented. Section 1, that Chapter 7, Traffic, shall be, and the same is hereby amended as follows. Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street, delete 818 Chandler Avenue, one spot, 2609 Griselli Avenue for 108 Buchanan Street, one space.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I'd like a motion to introduce ordinance number 63-2 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis.
Yes. Ordinance 62-3.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Section 1, that Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-10, parking prohibited at all times on certain streets shall be, and the same is hereby amended as follows. Add East Gibbon Street, South Side, Karen Terrace, North Side, Donna Court, Karen Terrace, West Side of intersection.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance 63-3 and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis.
Yes. Ordinance 63-4.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and is amended and supplemented. Section 1, that Traffic, Chapter 7, Traffic shall be, and the same is hereby amended as follows. 7-33 handicap parking regulations, 7-33.1A handicap parking on street. Add 1100 Passaic Avenue, 1 spot. 306 East Price Street, 2nd floor, 1 spot. 517 Moore Place, 2nd floor, 1 spot.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance 63-4 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis.
Yes. Ordinance 63-5.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Establishing a Schedule of Titles, Salary Ranges, and Regulations for Maintaining the Classification and Salary Standardization Plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995, adding Schedule 4-NN1.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I move ordinance 63-5 be introduced and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis.
Yes. Ordinance 63-6.
An ordinance of the City of Linden creating a new chapter entitled Sale of Electronic Smoke Devices.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Mr. Principato?
I don't, I have a cigarette license for my establishment. I don't sell anything electronic, but does it not fall under the same license?
This is for comments only, this portion.
Okay. Well, all I'm going to say is that if the electronic smoke devices fall under the same license as the regular tobacco license, then I don't think that the business owners should be penalized by having to procure another license.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
comments. Motion, please.
Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 63-6 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Ordinance 63-7.
An ordinance to adopt an amendment to the redevelopment plan entitled 1001 West Elizabeth Avenue Redevelopment Plan, Block 423, Lot 4.02, pursuant to the local redevelopment housing law, NJSA 48:12A-1 at sequence.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I'd like a motion to adopt ordinance number to introduce ordinance 63-7 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Ordinance 63-8.
An ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between the City of Linden and the Police Athletic League for the facility at 400 Maple Avenue, Linden, for a term of 10 years at the nominal consideration of $1 per year.
Anyone wishing to make a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, motion, please.
Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 63-8 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby? Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Okay, comments from members of the public in attendance on city business only. No personal, political, or derogatory comments, and we're asking not to exceed 5 minutes. Is there anyone that did not get a chance to sign the sheet in front of the room that would like to speak at this time? Please come up and sign. Okay. The first person I'll call up is Hans. Hans? Okay.
Good evening, guys. Hans Herberg, live on Westover Road. Anyway, congratulations, Yemakaitis, for the president. Anyway, guys, I want to point a couple things out. Really hope we get a start with a good year. But there's a couple concerns I had on Stells on the overpass between, Elizabeth and Linden. I mean, I've seen people commute back and forth, but I really hope DPW or someone from the county could repaint it, because I've seen left lane only. Some people are driving fast to cut people off, to the right, and it causes a lot of angry drivers, at night. Though I work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and when I get home, hey, I just want to go home and go to sleep, though, that kind of thing. And I've seen a lot of aggressive drivers going around, so I really hope, the city can look into that area. I mean, come on, if you're going to make a left, or if not, just stay in their lane. I mean,
Councilwoman Ormond, you chair the traffic committee, would you please bring that forward to them?
Council President?
I would be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would be more than glad to. As a matter of fact, I'll give you my telephone number before we leave here today,
that'd be
so
great.
you and I can sit down and discuss some of the things even further in detail, okay? Because your concerns are my concerns.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it, though. Also, too, I mean, I understand earlier we had a little drama, but 8th, let the people decide, though. I mean, I don't know who these people are. I mean, let's say if, you should. I mean, it's up to you to nominate who it is, and then, we like to hear everybody out. I mean, we're in a democracy world. I mean, even though if nobody knows who they are, just let the public and the ward hear them out. I mean, it's like when they had a mayor, for example. Everybody wants to hear debates. I mean, I think that's a fair process, just devoid of headaches and stress, and invite the 8th ward lead, Democrat Party, as well as the city, and, all you guys. I mean, even your president. So I think that's very fair for everyone. I mean, I'm not from the area, but I know you do a tremendous job in your ward. Though, as I'm very proud to have Ms. Hickey as my councilwoman. I mean, I think it's important to have a voice in our community. I mean, I think that's very fair, though. I mean, that's all I got to say about that. But I do thank you for support of law enforcement earlier. I mean, I know last few weeks, it's been really crazy going with public safety, but I mean, if you see a police officer or firefighter, just shake their hands, thank them for what they do. I think we need a lot of guys in a community to keep us safe, though. I mean, that's very important, though, what we do. I think, too, I really hope the new prosecutors and public defenders, I really hope they're all fair to the public. I mean, public safety is very important. I mean, we shouldn't have zero tolerance on crimes. I mean, hey, I was a victim of crime once, years ago, but I mean, we need to let everybody know we got to keep our community safe and put our foot down. I mean, we don't want anybody becoming victimized of crime, so I think that's mainly important. So anyway, guys, just want to thank you guys and hope everyone has a happy year. That's about it.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Principato? Okay, I guess he left. Tanya Grisette?
Am I set?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I actually came in to say thank you. After the past year and a half since my son started at Seoul Middle School, I have come to numerous meetings, came up here and spoke in regards to a traffic pattern study being done around Seoul Middle School. I was ecstatic last week when I received the email from Linden Board of Education that they did work with the Linden Police Department to have that traffic study done. I know there were some conflicts in, I think, scheduling, that it did get postponed until Monday. That letter did state that there would be police presence. Unfortunately, I haven't seen that happen yet. I have seen some parents who disregarded the email communication and ran over some cones. As some of us, 75% of us, have been following that traffic pattern per that email that came out, and observing the one-way streets on the said times. We, as Hans had said, we have a lot of angry drivers out on the road, so, people are yelling and waving their hands out the windows. So I'm sure once those conflicted schedules are taken care of and we do have some more presence, or maybe the larger cones filled with water or sand, so when they want to run it over, maybe it'll do some damage to their car and they'll finally get the point. But after I said a year and a half of putting it out there, I do thank you for the traffic study, and hopefully the other 25% of parents that aren't paying attention soon will. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, Craig Halloran?
Hello, Craig Halloran, 120 Donaldson Place. First of all, I want to wish and hope that everybody had a great new year. I have a few quick comments. First of all, I hope that nobody on the governing body of this fine city of ours takes any comments or questions I have in any offense. I certainly don't mean them that way. You are definitely helping me to educate me in how this city runs. Okay, first thing is, hypothetically, if I was to run for mayor, is there a job description written that I can get from somebody in city government to provide me with that information?
Once again this evening, Mr. Antonelli, can you answer that?
So actually, there is a description in our city code that defines the duties and responsibilities of the mayor as well as members of council.
Okay, can I
So
stop by your office?
I don't know if that's a job description, but it certainly would give you an idea, if you will, of what the duties and responsibilities of the mayor of the city of Linden is.
Okay, can I stop by your office at some point and pick that up?
Absolutely. You come by
Okay.
tomorrow, and we'll have it ready for you.
I think you two have connected very well tonight, so I think maybe
Thank
over
you.
coffee.
It's getting late, Council President. I'm
Okay.
tired.
Second, at the last meeting in December, I brought up a comment about the infiltration and inflow into the sanitary sewers in the city. What and why not, if they're not doing anything, what is the city planning to do about it, and when?
Frank?
Mr. Halloran, yeah, we did have that discussion, and I think your question is better asked at the Sewerage Authority. we only maintain the pipes that lead to the sewer plant, and they're the ones that have to let us know whether it's, if we need to do that or not.
Okay,
And currently, we do have somebody in class for the collector's license.
okay, I do beg to differ. I was at the Sewage Authority meeting last one, and due to the heavy rains that we had in November, I believe there was a 60% increase in the amount of water sent through the city's sanitary pipes, which the city maintained, to the Sewage Authority. That's the pipes I'm questioning. I've already asked at the Sewage Authority about this. They told me it was the responsibility of the city, and therefore, that's why I'm asking again.
They must not care how much, they have to treat the water that goes there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that, let's say the normal flow is 10 million gallons a day, and I understand that's between Roselle and Linden. But if that goes up to 10,600,000 or 10 million or 16 million, where does that extra water come from? It has to come from extra water getting into the sanitary lines between Roselle and Linden. That's the water I'm talking about, not that whether or not the Sewage Authority has to treat it. Yes, they do. They understand that. What I'm saying is, as a taxpayer, because I know because of the work I was in, that this is a very costly procedure, and I get concerned that what is the city planning to do about it, and when?
Every year, every single year, we do sewer repair in the city. Last year, quite a few $100,000 were expended to repair sewers, and as we go along and find breaks or find compromises, we have very sophisticated equipment, camera equipment, that crawls. We have crawlers that go into the sewer. We identify where the problem is, and we fix it. We have a sewer crew out every single day.
Oh, I know, I've seen them.
Every single day.
I commend
And
those guys.
every time we find out where there's a potential problem, they're there, they'll go into their house, they're going to people's homes. This city does more for residential sewers than any other city I've ever been involved
I don't
with.
doubt that at all. Okay, my question is, are there any plans to do, I'm familiar with the process of smoke testing sanitary lines to see if there are any illegal hookups or to identify any leaks.
Sure.
Is that in the planning stages at this point?
Currently, there is no plan to do that, sir.
Why?
I don't have to, I don't know the answer to that. All I know is that, as you know, I've only been here a year.
One
And I've been
minute.
following the sewer issues all along, and we respond immediately when we find a compromise in the lines.
Okay, I will take that as an answer. No offense, to anybody, please, but I know that, overall, this can be a very costly procedure over time. And I worry about spreading those costs out over getting hit with it once or... And my last comment is, I'd like to commend the police department on their fine job. If the city thinks it's necessary to have 2 public defenders, they must be working hard. So I commend the police department on their fine work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Halloran. Okay, Gary Golgochi? I apologize if I'm mispronouncing.
Good evening, everybody.
Can you please state your name and address for the clerk?
Yes. I'm Gary Galgosi of 627 East Elm Street. This is actually my first time coming to one of the city council meetings. And first off, I would just like to wish everybody on the council a happy new year. To those who got appointed and reelected, congratulations. I've actually been resident in Linden for over 30 years, and I am actually very proud to come to my first council meeting. And actually, I owe a lot to a very wise woman who actually took the time to answer some questions that I had. And then I owe a lot of that to Lisa Ormond. And actually, this is the first time I meet my councilman, Mr. Mohammed. To be very honest, 'cause I'm not good with the speaking, Inking. The city of Linden has always done a fine job. I don't know where people have their antics, but I can honestly say the day of New Year's, my mother's workplace suffered a massive fire. And thanks to Chief Dooley and the firemen of the city and also our police officers that were there, they were able to contain the fire to where it was a very minimum loss. Thank you to the city of Linden, because not only did you save my mother's company a lot of money, but you've also saved them a lot of aggravation. And I just look forward again to know use more throughout the year, so I just have a little something for our newly elected, and congratulations to our first woman council president.
Thank
This
you.
is a big step for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gary.
Thank you.
Gary and I actually went to St. Elizabeth together. I've known Gary since,
Daniel Yamakaitis. You're good? Okay. Mr. Mack, you had raised your hand earlier and you never came up. Do you? Yes. 5 minutes, Mr. Mack, okay?
What'd you say?
5 minutes,
Did you
sir.
start the clock yet?
I'll start the clock. You ready? Mr. Mack? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President of City Council and members of council, on behalf of the people, I appear before you the first time of the year, and I asked you last year to be crystal clear that everybody got a clean sheet of paper. But the bottom line, I don't think that is true. I want to thank especially you, my beloved brother. I call him my brother because he told me the truth. I want to thank all of the people, I said the people now, watch the language, the people that had met with me in order for me to stand for you in January to tell you the bottom line, watch the language. I said the bottom line. Let's go forward. I told y'all, I said it last year, I'm not gonna talk about anything. I wanna thank the chief of the fire department and public work.
That's our new
My
engineer.
other beloved brother over there.
He's our new engineer.
I want to thank you. And I want to thank the attorneys at law. But the bottom line, George Mikowski told me, you were talking to me, you were talking about it, you were talking to me. Why are you interrupting me? Thank you. I love you, ain't that you do about it. Michelle Yamatari, we are so happy for you, and I've been watching you for a few minutes. But something disturbed my little pea brain. Watch the language. I said my little pea brain. Because I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Let's go for, I told y'all just a few days ago, we got a blank sheet of paper. Let's go forward with that. All this bickering, I talked to many people a few minutes ago since I've been here. And bottom line, I mean it. And the people told me to tell you, make it crystal clear to them. We're gonna stop coming to council meeting. Because the people said, we're gonna stop coming to council meeting. We coming to caucus meeting. Because they said, I said it. The people that said, I said it. Disrespect would be by text. Disrespect. We coming to the caucus meeting, so we will not come out. I don't know where y'all come out. You come out that door? I don't know where y'all come from. But the bottom line is, you're not coming out here no more and be disrespectful. If we can't do it in the caucus meeting, because I'm going to tell the people, don't come to the council meeting, come to the caucus meeting. Well, we can get it straight. Since y'all going to put on a show out here, I'm talking to you. You gonna put a show on? Do it in the caucus meeting, not out here in front of the United States of America. Because guess what? Your behavior could go around the world if I could tie my shoes, if I could put my socks on. Your behavior, watch the language, can go all the way around the world. And I'm getting a little, I just said, watch the language, not me. I'm getting a little bit tired. Every time I turn around, we got some old diabolical, watch the language, statements to say about our beloved community. I love Linden. I got here in 1964. 1964.
Mr. Mack, 1 minute.
How much you say I got?
1 minute.
They don't like me out here.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Okay, comments from members of the governing body. Anyone wishing to speak? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Councilman Roman, I'll start with you. We'll start down this end for a change. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Oh.
The
Can we
motion
have
to-
a motion to close the public comment?
Motion.
Second.
Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Crosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yemakaitis?
Yes. Councilman Roman.
Council President, you don't even need the timer. It
I-
won't be long. Hans, Stiles, and Linden Ave, Wood Ave, and Linden Ave, Stiles, and Elizabeth, all being repaved, some of them, and in some parts being widened and relighted due to the Walmart open up. It's a thing that has been going on for a while. This hasn't been mentioned all night, so I want to take the time. Today, one of my heroes and really my role model in this world and everyday life would have been 90 years old today. Martin Luther King Jr. Wasn't given the opportunity to realize at the age of 90, he died for the most absolute noble cause of racial equality and labor equality. There is not a, every time I get upset in life or anything, there's a quote that you can find from Martin Luther King that is imperative to the situation. I just want to read one. There's so many, but the richer,
Roman, you have 1 minute.
the richer we have become materially, the poorer we have become morally and spiritually. We have learned to fly like birds in the air and swim in the sea like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers. Council President, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby.
I just forgot to mention that Fay Avenue and Caroline Avenue are going to be submitted. I'm sorry, Cranford Avenue. Those are two streets that I share with the 8th Ward, and I've already spoken to Council President Yemakaitis, and we agree, like these both streets need to be repaved, and now the funding hopefully comes to our wards. And Cranford Avenue is a truck route, so we are not allowed to get humps on that street. However, when it is repaved, I'm going to ask that they reinstall the rumble strips there. And Fay Avenue, I've had for 2 years now in the traffic study committee for the speed humps. It's not, the speed humps are not hurting us. The 5th Ward has 4 speed humps, and it keeps the kids safe. And on Fay Avenue, the 8th Ward residents, the 5th Ward residents, and the neighbors on Elizabeth all see people flying, near misses, like animals are almost being hit. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm still trying for this, and I believe that in so far as the traffic goes,
Thank
I
you,
believe.
Councilwoman, for your comments.
Okay.
Councilwoman Ormond.
Yes, just real quickly, I want to thank John Roman for just bringing it up that it is Martin Luther King's actual birthday today. A man of great peace, a man of great love, a man of equality, a man who fought for all to vote equally. So happy birthday, Dr. King. I'd also like to say to the 8th Ward residents who are still here, thank you for coming out. Thank you for not only letting your voices be heard, but for letting your face be seen behind that voice. You just have no idea how important that is. And I just want to let you know, you won the first battle, okay? Your voices should be heard. And then last but not least, I often think about sometimes how we get heckled in the audience, and even today, one person sitting there, you know, calling Mr. Brown names and mouthing and making comments as I was speaking. It can be disheartening, but it takes just one person to make it seem as though all of this is worthwhile. So I just want to say to Gary, thank you. You made my day with this card. One Gary in this whole entire world against 1,000, 1,000,000 Johns. You run rings, my friend. You run rings just with your kindness and just your compassion. So you made a big difference today. I'll take all the haters. I'll take 100 of them. But one of you, like I said,
Thank you,
you're just amazing.
Councilwoman.
Thank you again.
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, I want to say, I guess, I got nominated somewhere around here with Councilman Cosby that doing a Martin Luther King, not Martin Luther King, Black History event. So, hold on. So we're going to do something together. So I know every year she does something, so we're going to try to plan something in a short amount of time that hopefully it'll be a first for the city. We have a history of doing things for the first time and having good events, so hopefully we can work together to get a good program to add on what I was talking about, the banner program we did last year with the Black History Month. We'll be doing that as well as another 28 names. Hopefully by February 1st, those banners should be up. Another note real quick in regards to the 8th Ward. Yeah, sometimes I get very passionate up here, and one of the reasons is that when people say we don't care, we do. A lot of people don't know some of our history, our roots to some of these wards. Even though I wasn't born in this town, there's many people in this town I consider family, and one of them used to live in the 8th Ward, who was the stepmother of Joseph Saliga. And I'll never forget the day when I used to go to those ward club meetings to talk about the budget or garbage surcharge, and she came up to me that meeting crying about how she couldn't pay property taxes. And that's why I'm still here today, is because I do care, not just about my own ward, but throughout the whole city. So I do take offense when people say that we don't care, because we don't get paid very much here, but we do, and I want to piggyback off Councilman Cosme.
Thank you, Councilman
Okay.
Brown. Okay. I, too, would just like to take an opportunity to thank the 8th Ward Club members that took the time out of their schedule. I know she's going to kill me, but one is still sitting here at 10:30 tonight, and this is her birthday. And that's how important she felt it was. Happy birthday, Helene Johnson.
Happy birthday.
Okay, the following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, February 19, 2019, at 5 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, February 19th, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Can I have a motion for
So
adjournment?
moved.
What? Second?
Second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Brown?
Abstain.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
No.
Strano?
Yes.
Medina?
Absolutely.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mrs. Yamakaitis?
Yes, thank you.